All right, it's 11 o'clock. Let's get the show on the road, as they say. How's everybody doing? Welcome aboard. Let me post on Twitter and let everybody know that we are streamer rating. We are live at www.twitch.tv/ this asshole. Matt Colville. Boom. Hey, everybody. Welcome aboard. No singing to start off the stream. I apologize. No. I realize that it becomes something of a tradition. But it has to be spur of the moment. Otherwise, I do have music on for the first time since we're doing this. And we'll see how that works out. It may mean it's alive! Gordon's alive! It may mean that we're able to do this a little bit longer. As you can see, hopefully, I put in a... so for those of you joining us for the first time, I thought it would be neat, a while ago. I didn't realize it was going to take this long. I'm slow. What can we do? What can we say? A long time ago, I thought it would be fun to build a D&D world together in on Twitch, using Hexographer, just because Hexographer generates random worlds, which makes our lives a lot easier. And so we generated a bunch of different random maps. We all got online like on a Saturday night until I found a map that Hexographer made that had this cool feature in it. You can see where there's a mountain range with a pass between it that was entirely random. I didn't design that, and I said this looks like a great place to start. Let's start building a world together. And I want to emphasize anybody watching this live. First of all, hello. Don't have better things to do. First, and anybody watching this on YouTube, that this top-down approach where we start with a map and we start naming things and we start figuring out who lives here, is just one way to do it. And it's a way that I thought would be fun to do together. But I'm a huge advocate of you don't need any of this stuff, right? Start with a town for which you don't even need a map. You need to know the name of the town. That would be nice, and the name of the inn and the name of some of the people that live there. But start with a town, start with an adventure nearby, and build up, because that is a achievable goal. Whereas something like this world we're making, Collaborous, somebody in stream wanted to call it, and I thought it was a great name, as in collaboration. This is something you can work on forever and never be done. Right? To a certain extent, no campaign setting is ever finished. And there's always a temptation to just keep working on it. I don't want to start yet. So you don't need all of this stuff. And if you start by thinking, oh, I have to have a whole world planned out, then you may never start playing D&D. Let's see. Correct. Vanderpike, I was saying, we don't have halflings in this world yet. Halflings are this weird Alasiel Berioth. Hello. Halflings are this weird thing, kind of like half-elves, where I've never really understood how they fit in to Dungeons and Dragons, and maybe that's because they don't. They're kind of grafted on. But do halflings have their own civilization? Do they have a capital city? I don't know. I haven't ever really... Hello, Brazil. How are you guys doing down there? I heard Rio de Janeiro just asked for aid in funding the Olympics. And I think it was heavily misreported, because I believe it was the city asking the state for money, which is like, doesn't every city hosting the Olympics do that? We may be getting to the end of the Olympics being hosted by... go read the history of the 1984 Los Angeles Olympics and Peter Uberoth, because the Olympics were already in the 1980s so expensive that it was becoming unfeasible for one city to host it. And we may be getting to the point where different events happen in different cities and different countries. Anyway, why are we talking about the Olympics? Because somebody from Brazil said hello. What am I listening to? We are currently listening to Witch Hunt from Rush's seminal album Moving Pictures. I have my Rush playlist on. I could put my listenable playlist on, but I wanted to reduce the amount of spontaneous music that might come out of the mouth thing. Do I plan to make a video on how to present Collaborous to the players at the beginning of a campaign? Yeah. In fact, the reason I thought it would be fun to do this, and we haven't even gotten started yet, and it's already 11:05, is that I wanted to show how this is so dumb, that it's going to be like, we will have ended up with many, many hours of content just because I had this idea. I wanted to take Lost Mine of Phandelver, because it's the starter adventure, and I just wanted to show how I would prep it. So a brand new dungeon master who just bought this thing goes, okay, well, Now what? I read it, and then what do? And so I thought it would be a very useful, right, for new dungeon masters, a video how this old dungeon master would prep an adventure like that. And I thought, well, we need a world, right? We need a world for that. So let's put a world together. We're gonna make a half-hour long video sometime in the future, and for that half-hour long video, we're gonna do about 10 hours worth of world building. But I didn't want to start with like we're gonna do videos on Greyhawk. We're gonna do videos on the Forgotten Realms. I want to do a series on adventures and campaign settings, just because I it's my conviction and a big part of the philosophy of my stream that every different style of play Dungeons and Dragons has ever had, many of which were considered fashionable. In other words, a way we played it for a while, but then tastes changed, and now we don't play it that way anymore. That every different fashion that D&D's ever had is still fun, is still relevant, can still be enjoyed by anybody. And so doing a video on, hey, here's Greyhawk. Let's talk about why this was a cool setting and why people liked it. Let's do a video on the Forgotten Realms. Let's do a video on one of my favorite settings, Tolis by Monty Cook. I didn't want to use one of those campaign settings because I felt like it would be me endorsing it, if that made sense. Hey, let's prep Lost Mine of Phandelver in Forgotten Realms. Dungeon Masters would think, okay, I guess that's how I have to do it. So I thought it'd be more fun to kind of create our own world first. Anyway, someone takes notes of Matt's promises. Are there any other starter adventures you'd recommend for starting a campaign? There are many. And that's probably a good idea for a video. And I've talked about several of them. I think Night Below, which you might be able to see, it's right there. Night Below is, unfortunately, it's like $50 online. No one has scanned it and uploaded it to, what's what I'm looking for. Wizards of the Coast does not have it on the DMs Guild, so you can't just go buy it, unfortunately, which is too bad. Night Below is a great 1st to 10th level adventure, and it's a great place to start because it's got a really deliberately sandboxy. Night Below is kind of the archetype for every game I run these days, where the first couple of levels, 1st through 5th level, very sandboxy. Players can go on different adventures and make choices, and they can't solve every problem, but then eventually a plot thread emerges. It's going to get them to 10th level. Sinister Secret of Salt Marsh is an adventure I know a lot of people like. I wasn't a huge fan of it because it's a Scooby-Doo type thing. Oh, there are ghosts haunting the town. No, they're just pirates. Avast. Village of Hamlet is fantastic. Very old school, though. One of those adventures that doesn't tell you like, well, there's a dungeon outside of town. Why are we going there? Gary Gygax would have said, because there's treasure there. Right? But nowadays, I think, remember this fashion style? Nowadays, I think people need more of a hook. My favorite starting adventure is Against the Cult of the Reptile God. And part of that's because it's a great name. Am I going to do a video about DMing to one person? I think I kind of did that. We played for 5 hours with my friend Gertz as the lead-in to the upcoming combined D&D game. But yeah, we should probably, where should we start today? Glacial Gaffer asks, in a very polite way of saying, all right, enough of the blah blah. Let's get started. So here we are in Calabris. We've already done a lot of work, and I just before the stream started, I went in and I added some borders. White Eagle asks, how much have we missed? We're almost done. It's basically about 5 more minutes, and then we're all going to be finished. G-Mang wants to hear about what makes Jim such a great DM. You know what? I actually set up my camera at a coffee shop at a mall, and I interviewed my friend Jim for about 2 hours, just because I wanted to get Jim was a gamer before D&D came out, and he was at a hobby shop when the first box set of Dungeons & Dragons came out, and he bought it, and he played it, and he was one of the first people in Southern California to play D&D. So is that Craig? Hey, it's Craig! Hey, it's Craig! I think Craig Pinwhistle, I think 30 years I think it's more than that now. I think he started in 74, 75. So we're on 40, 41. Craig is one of my best friends. I've known Craig since we were 15. So let's see. As you can see, I have already put a little border here in between Ardenia, Haldrim, and let's monkey with the hex width a little bit. Because the zoom levels here are kind of crazy. If I do 75, what does that do? Yeah, let's go 70. Blame is better to give than receive. Craig, hi Matt. Hey, Craig. Uh, so I dropped some borders in here you can see in the Northern Sanction. We're going to start by talking... Oh, hey, I need to bring up the document, which I now have forgotten about. What is it? Is it Calabras? Did I just type in... No, Calabros. That's a band, apparently. Calabras. I guess it's probably this. Let's see if this works. Life has nothing left to chance, a host of holy horrors. Sorry. You guys didn't come here to hear me go widdly widdly woo. So this is the document that we use to write down all the nonsense we come up with. I often refer to these things that we do together, the stream, the videos, as nonsense, as just because I find it not healthy to my ego to take this stuff too seriously. So if you ever hear me talk about this endeavor of ours that we do together, where I talk about D&D in what may seem like a disparaging way, it is purely just to try to keep context on all this and remind everybody that this stuff's not important. We do it for fun. It is rewarding, but in the grand scheme of things, let's see. So I just want to... Yeah, I did an interview video for YouTube for my friend Jim. It's very long, and we're going to have to edit it down. Let's see. So this is the document. I just want to check chat every once in a while. And in fact, I've got this... I put this chat box here on purpose because it kind of shows me how to frame. So this is where we make all the notes that we have, and this document gets longer and longer and longer. And I changed the name of some things based on, well, in chat we debate what a good name for something is, and then I write something down, and then in the week that passes, I'll go, no, I didn't like that name. I didn't like this name that we talked about. I like this other name. So, for instance, we were arguing, when last we left our heroes, we were arguing about what this place is called. And I wanted to avoid a name like the Spinelands, because I felt like that's a kind of Forgotten Realms-y name that, they just put two nouns together, or a noun and an adjective together, and I wanted to give it like a proper name, but we couldn't come up with one that I liked, and everyone was just calling it the Spinelands, so I said, okay, fine, forget it. I have two spellings of Kalazanbar. Yep, I'm probably gonna have to at some point. There are sentences in here that don't go anywhere, that just end in the middle, I think. And at some point, we will clean all that stuff up. My goal is, when this is done, which won't be today, I don't think, unless we're very ambitious, I should make a list of all the stuff that I want to finish, just to keep everybody up to date. We're going to talk about the Northern Sanction today. We're going to talk about Zir. We're going to talk about the Bantur Steppe. What else is there? We're going to talk about the Dro Nation and the Dwagar Nation, although maybe not today. And then I want to drop some adventures in here. I want to put some dungeons in here and actually label them and say, okay, here's Orlane, here's the Village of Hamlet, here's the Temple of Elemental Evil, here's Fandelver, right? Although that name is not, I don't think, in accord with our naming conventions. Hang on a second. You guys watch Critical Role on Thursday? Crazy! That was one of the Krull Does Rock deck I had. So I'm easily distracted just because I love reading the chat and talking to people. If you didn't watch Critical Role last week, holy moly, one of the few times I have been able to actually watch because I'm on vacation and it wasn't game night. MS Archit, Miss Archit, or Sarchit says, I always thought it was pronounced Duragar. You know what? One of the fun things about Dungeons and Dragons is arguing with people about how things are spelled. Or not how things are spelled, I'm sorry, how they are pronounced. Did anybody remember arguing when you were younger about the difference? Is it pronounced drow or dro? Craig, how did we pronounce it when we were young? Was it dro? Wasn't it dro? I think it was. The mostly explored world. Is Gertz in here? Half the people in here are people I know. Does the glaive live in the volcano? Well, probably. You have to go on a quest to get it once your father has been Dwar. I think it's the DU is from the Scandinavian languages, and it's a dw, so Dwero, Dwimmer, Dwargar. Let's see. Do do do. Let's see. Watching the VODs now on the stream really helps find inspiration for world building. I'm glad it does. How about the Northern Sanction having an order of knights that was once renowned? Well, we'll talk about that. All right, so this is the document that we make all the notes in. And I like the 2A's clockwork. So, boom. Whoops. Don't paste the... don't paste... There we go. Don't paste the formatting. I changed the name of the Council of Dwarves from, I don't even remember what it was, to the Crucible, because Dan Connolly liked the Crucible better, and and so did I, by the way. I try to avoid, we haven't even gotten started yet, and it's already 11:16. I try to avoid, people online are like, oh, I missed the stream, but here are my ideas. And I'm like, nope. If it's not happening in chat, if it's not happening live, then it's not real. With the exception of the edits that I make. And my goal is to eventually, when this is done, we'll take this document, we'll put it up online, anybody can use it. But I also then, when the free version that you can just download and use is done, I'm actually going to spend some money and get some illustrations and some layout and flesh it out and do some writer nonsense to it to make it feel like a real world. So this is the Crucible, thanks to Dan Connolly. If you haven't seen Dan Connolly's, in fact, let's go look for it. Yes, it's my stream. I can take the time if I want to. DanConnolly.com. If you guys haven't seen this guy's, no, not attorney at law. God damn it. Dan Connolly collaborates. So Dan Connolly is a guy in the UK who follows us, and he does. I can post links. That's right. I'm the king of the stream. I'm the stream king. He does graphic design, and a pet passion of his is heraldry. And so he does all this. Let's bring it into the video here. He does all this amazing. Here's the old, now fallen, the dwarven kingdom of Kalazanbar. It fell long ago to the Dwagar and the Drow, but this was the dwarven symbol they would use, and you can see it's two mountains split with a pass, right? So it was probably the twin kingdoms of Kalazanbar. There was probably just like the Northern Sanction, and so anyway. And he goes through and he goes, here's the orcs, and here's their what do you call it? Heraldry. And here's the city of Titan's Gate, which is this city right here. And he does all this. Look at the lizard men, and there's this lizard men of Dreshmore, and here are the different clans of lizard men. And here's in fact, let's blow it up a little bit. Here's the what do you call it? The Medusa that runs them, right? Here are all the different sigils, devices of Tal and Arafel. Excuse me. So yeah, Dan Connolly's stuff is amazing, and every time we do a stream and we come up with new knights and new nations and stuff like that, Dan enjoys. Yokuzen57, I'm glad you were enjoying Priest. It has a happy ending. Don't worry. So here I have taken a little red ink and put in some borders here. Don't trust these borders. I may move them around. And I want to talk about the nations of Ardenia, Haldrum, and Cardus. So let's bring them up. So Ardenia, Haldrum, and Cardus, I want to know, this is how we do these. This is how we do this. I want to know who's in charge and what they want. And then in that process, we often find out some other interesting stuff. Yes, Quest 1993, if you in the document, which I think I can link to the current document. I showed it to you on my screen, but that is not the most useful way to do it. No, you don't want that. You want Collabris. So those of you at home can read the doc. There we go. In fact, I should set up a Moobot alert for that. I'll do it later. Actually, one of the things Leventhros says, I'm not going to call Drow in my setting. They're dark elves, right? Wood elves are wood elves, and high elves are high elves. Why should Drow get their own name? But one of the things I liked about 4th edition was they named the high elves the Eladrin, which I thought was fantastic. Okay, so Ardinia, let's see. I think that two of these places have no. So first of all, let's take a look. We spent a lot of time in the document. I know we say it's world building, and so you imagine we're going to spend a lot of time in the map. But really, once we've taken a look at the map and we know what's here, we spend a lot of time in the document. Can you import those heraldry icons into Hexographer? I don't know. I should ask Joe, the Inkwell guy. I'm sure there's a way to do it, but ultimately I can probably just bring this. I'll export this and bring it into Photoshop to make the text look nice. And Hexographer will get you 80% of the way there as far as making the text look nice. But you know, I like text along a curve and stuff like that. So I kind of have to there. I'm reading the chat, but I also have to kind of have a healthy disregard for it. Otherwise, we'll never get anything done. So Ardenia, Haldrum, and Cardus are each three kingdoms, is how we've described them. And kingdoms have kings. So let's talk about. I think one of them has a queen, and I think it's going to be Ardenia. So looking at thinking about medieval characters, thinking about that culture, thinking about the names Aldenia, Haldrum, and Cardus. What is a good name for the Queen of Ardenia? You tell me. People are giving incredibly specific advice and ideas for how these kingdoms are run. Um, but in the spirit of the kind of top-down thing, here we go. Alfred. Alfred's a good name. Uh, oh, I can't forget. I have to, in tribute to my friend. Well, you guys, we haven't. Okay, I think maybe there are enough names in there that I can grab one. Uh, I want to make sure before I forget that we need to put, and we'll put it over here in Cardus. Uh, boop, the town of Keys, and in custom text, start new text, text Keys. This is am I making an executive decision to no. Uh, uh, how do I? Once again, once again, we have. I'm trying to add text to the thing. My friend Jim, who in as a tribute to him, I wanted to make sure to put text Keys to put a city here for his character Liam of Keys to be from. But I don't know. Start new text. Keys. I would really like it if I could just type in here, but apparently I can't. I'll have to just. It really annoys me that there's like start new text, save new text, select text, keys. Click, 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 click. Okay, enough of that. Let's see. What is a good name for the Queen of Haldrum? Aeleth isn't bad. I like Aeleth. Serana, that's not bad. Um, 137 megahertz, Queenie McQueen. Unfortunately, we're going to have to time out people who give silly answers because otherwise, so far the stream's been really good, but sometimes the silly answers, the signal to noise ratio gets crazy in here sometimes. But so far nothing bad has happened. I like Isolde isn't bad. It's a nice classic name. Serana, I like Serana. I think feel like I've heard that name before, but and that's perfectly fine. Aeleth, I think I'm gonna go with X's Zez dude's Aeleth. So Queen Aeleth of Ardenia. Ruled by. See, we're 24 minutes in. We kind of just got started really. Ruled by Queen Aeleth, Aeleth. And if I remember correctly, there's some kind of relationship between let's see, Arden. We have some politics going on here already. In fact, we have disagreement on how this place is spelled. Here we go. So there's a dwarven house ruled by a thane, and there's there's an alliance right now between Corim and Ardenia. So that alliance was brokered by the Queen, I imagine. How do I feel about Auto Realm as a mapping software? I used it a while ago. I don't remember why I gave up on it. It may not be any fault of the. Um, Fairly Sad Panda says the only thing that irks me about the name Ardenia is that the Fantasy Kingdom game Majesty uses that name for its setting. Well, Fairly Sad Panda, the only reason that you don't feel the same way about Corum and Cardus and Haldrum is you haven't read enough, or watched enough TV or anime, or because I'm sure somewhere out there are books or comics or movies that use those names. So we kind of we can't get too worked up about that kind of stuff. Otherwise, we never get anywhere. So tell me something interesting about. So we know that Ardenia is ruled by a queen. We know it's one of the three kingdoms of the Northern Sanction. We know there is an alliance between Ardenia and Corum. And in fact, I think there was something else about Urshok that they have. The dwarves of Urshok have. Here we go. The orcs have a blood feud with the men of the Northern Sanction, only recently quenched when Haldrum made peace. Right, and Ardenia cannot sign up to that because... So here's the political situation, right? We have 3 places. Really, we have 6 places. Let's zoom out a little bit. We have Orshak, we have the Northern Sanction, we have Corim, and we have the Scale Hills. And Cardus is dealing with lizard men coming over the mountains from the Scale Hills because they're losing their war with the dragonmen of Zir. We have the Urshok orcs who have made peace with the men of Haldrum so that these guys aren't at war anymore. But unfortunately, there's no way Corum and the orcs, the dwarves and the orcs, are ever going to have an alliance. And so Ardenia, who would like peace with the orcs, cannot sign because they have peace with, they trade with Corum, and the dwarves are like, under no circumstance are we going to trade with you if you make an alliance with the orcs. So we have this interesting kind of they say in Dune, the tripod is the most unstable political alliance. Right, Yuan-Ti, the Yuan-Ti of the Scale Hills. Thank you for correcting me. That is correct. Right, and Ardenia would like, they're stuck between the dwarves, and this is how I think. This is not the only way to think, but I look at the geography. I see that we decided there are dwarves here, there are orcs here. That makes sense. There's a kingdom in between. So now we have some tension, right? And that's what creates drama, right? Ardenia has dwarves on one side, orcs on the other, would like to have peace with both of them, but cannot because these two political entities hate each other. So we know that Ardenia is caught between these two kingdoms, and we know that it is ruled by a queen, Queen Aleph. Tell me something interesting about Ardenia. Tell me something that we didn't know a minute ago. And try not to get crazy with the high fantasy stuff, because this is the human lands, right? And this is where a lot of adventure is going to start. This is where a lot of farmers put down their plowshares, pick up swords, and become fighters. And for those guys, for those first level characters, we don't want this crazy fantasy, high fantasy, flying carpets world. Let's see. I tend to like when I ask for input from when I'm trying to curate this content, and so ideas that are short and punchy tend to attract my eye better because it means I don't have to read for a long time and go, okay, what's going on here? I like, see, this is a great idea. OG Pixel, Ardenia is the origin of a vast spy network. I'm a sucker for that kind of stuff. So so that sounds good to me. Let's see. Let's go back to Ardenia. She keeps larger, more prosperous kingdoms, writer, not a typer, of Haldrum and Cardus at bay, using her spy network. What is the name of the bard that runs her spy network. Because I think it would be cool if there was if the I think it would be cool if the spy network were run by a bard. That seems like a useful. This is my Go Juice. This is just Crystal Light, 0 calorie flavor additive to water, bottled water. And this flavor is the caffeine flavor. Christoph. I like that. Christoph. Spy network. Led by the Troubadour. So now we have this, we've invented this idea that of the three kingdoms, Ardennia, let's see if the map bears this out. Yeah, it does, I think, mostly. Ardennia is the smaller of the three kingdoms. That's the reason it had to petition for peace with Corum. And obviously Haldrum and Cardus would like their lands because there's, I think, a constant struggle among nations for power. And the way Ardennia manages to keep independent is through its spy network, which I like. So I think that's enough. You know, we already have the political situation between Ardennia, Corum, and the orcs. Now we know who's in charge there. It's Queen Aelith. And we know that the thing that makes Ardennia interesting, or one of the things that makes it interesting, is that they have a really cool spy network run by bards. So, I mean, obviously, Ardennia could get the Northern Sanction, if we went crazy with this, could get an entire supplement, right? An entire 32, 64-page supplement with illustrations and stuff like that. But we don't want to go too crazy. Okay, Haldrum, probably where most PCs start their adventure. Lots of half-orcs in this area because of the proximity to the Urshok Hills, right? So now we're talking about Haldrum. And the Stone-Tooth Tribe. I think we came up with a better name for this, which I'm going to just make a note to myself, to the better named tribe. I'll go back and... Okay, what? Everyone's going that up. So what did I miss? Ooh. So, connections with the Dwarven House Hydragirum. The Quicksilver clan. I like that. That's pretty cool. The Whispered Song. You like that? A spy network is not very good if it has a name. Has there ever been a spy network without one? Spies, I think, are inherently dramatic, right? Going back all the way to, see? I don't necessarily want to name the spy network, not because I don't think it would have a name. I almost feel like, there's some things that I want to... There's some things I like implying. If there's a spy network, it probably has a name. And allow whatever DM ends up running this to name it themselves. I like leaving a little bit of space in there. I don't want to deliberately say, oh, there's a spy network, you come up with the name. I just want to say there's a spy network and move on. But that being said, I love, I remember the Black Lotus, the bad guys from Greyhawk. I love stuff like that. People like the Whispered Song. I'll write it down. But using her spy network, the Whispered Song. I'm going to put that in the Whisper. Because I think a good name, especially in a medieval-esque, because not literally medieval. Medieval is a time and a place that existed only here on Earth. But, Thieves' Cant, Cockney rhyming slang. The goal of these languages is to be able to communicate things to people without the cops knowing what you're talking about. So if the name is too overt and there's no way to use it in a conversation without everyone knowing what you're talking about, then that's a bad name for a spy network. But something like the Whispered Song is fine because we can reduce it down to the Whisperer, right? And that now implies how the spies in the network refer to themselves and talk to it. they might say, "Keep your voice to a whisper," right? And that is a catchphrase that they use as a code phrase to identify each other to themselves. It's terrible when bad things happen to good paragraphs. Yeah, I think Craig's a pretty smart dude. Let's see. Yeah, I think that let's in fact let's do that. Uh, Ardenia is famous for its bardic college. Uh, it's strong. Ardenia's bards travel the kingdoms from the high city of I don't know what yet, all the way to Titan's Gate, collecting, and spreading news. So now we know if you're a bard in this setting, if you're that this is either a thing that you could belong to when you start off, or more likely aspire to as you level up. Unbeknownst, suspected by the other nations, but never proven. Queen Aelith uses her bardic college, as a spy network, keeping the larger, more prosperous kingdoms at bay. There. Now this is let's watch Matt write. World building, mostly writing. The Whisper. I think the music is helping me not notice the passage of time. So we may be able to do this longer than the normal 2 hours. Who knows? Ruled by Queen Aelith, Ardenia is famous for its possessive. You just watched one of the things I will die. Never, hopefully not in the next 10 minutes. Never having gotten where the apostrophe goes right in the writing of it. Only when reading it back do I go, nope. For its bardic college, the College of the Whispered Song, also known as the Whisper. Let's make that a bit more explicit. Ardenia's bars travel the kingdoms from the high city of, I don't know what, we'll figure that out, all the way to Titan's Gate collecting and spreading news! Exclamation point. Suspected by the other nations but never proven, Queen Aelith uses her bardic college as a spy network, keeping the larger, more prosperous kingdoms of Haldren and Cardis at bay. And led by the troubadour, led by master. I just don't like bard. I think bard is a common. Bard is the name of the class, right? Like I don't call paladins in my setting. I call them knights. So I like minstrel or troubadour by master troubadour Christoph. There. All right, more messages below. Yeah, welcome to the live stream. Every once in a while, in fact, quite frequently, I get an image of what this looks like to somebody who's just tuning in and going, what is going on? We're watching someone do their homework? Is that it? Let's see. I'm just going to check the chat and see. 289 people watching. Well, because if there's no other good D&D content right now, unfortunately. Would it be more fun to watch somebody play D&D? Probably. Where's Tiny Cat? All the cats, Tiny Cat and Muffin and Black Kitty, are all outside. The hall door is closed because my air conditioner in the other room is on. The air conditioner in this room is on, pumping cold air out to get into this room. The air conditioner in this room is not on. The central air is not on because it hasn't worked in years. That's something I've got to get taken care of eventually. Because I don't want you guys to have to listen to the air conditioner. I love. Oh, General Cross 31. Oh, mwah. I love you. I love the idea of name levels. I want to have sex with them. I love the idea that a 5th level bard is. Do I have my? No, and I don't want to go dig around for the PDF right now. I love the idea that like a 1st level fighter has a level title, right? And Craig, if you're watching, Craig knows this. It's this thing I love. I don't know that it's ever come up or ever been used, but I like writing down your character sheet that like, you know, a 3rd level thief. If you're a 3rd level thief, you're a cut purse, right? I just, I wow, the stream is really delayed. I was, yeah. I apologize for those of you who just had to have your ears blown out by me. I didn't. I didn't. Sorry, Craig. He's not lying. So yeah, I just think it's a neat idea. So here we go. We learned a little bit about Ardennia. Let's move on to Haldrum. So let's take a look at the map of Haldrum. What's going on here? Because even though we spend a lot of the time in the document, a lot of the stuff that's in the document comes from the geography and what we've learned about the people that live here. We know that Haldrum is, there are bandit tribes to the south, which are largely the bandits are the descendants of a legion of Haldric troops that rebelled. Let's see. Excuse me, I'm just checking out the... how does one go about DMing without a combat grid? It's a good question. I've always run on the grid, but we'll do an episode. I was going to do an episode about getting on the grid this week, but instead I made a new episode. A new episode of running the game on Monday, I hope. So we have Dreshmar, we have the Lizardmen. So Haldrum is in a tight spot. You can see why they made an alliance with the orcs, because they had to make an alliance with somebody, right? They've got bandit tribes to the south, they've got lizardmen to the west, they've got orcs to the north. It's crazy. I'm just reading the chat. Sorry. Excuse me. I don't want to. You know your text size is 0 on the app. I have no idea what that comment is in aid of. So who's in charge of Haldrum? What is the name of the king of Haldrum? I like the idea that there are three kings. One of them's a queen, but there are 3 named rulers. I don't want to say, oh, this one has the not a king. Let's say there are 3 of them. Beauty Crackapia. Cyric? I like Cyric. Cyric the Grey. Cyric the Grey, I'm using that. Screw it. It's a good name. It's a good name. I like it. King Cyric the Grey. He's older, obviously. Ruled by King Cyric the Grey. Unfortunately, Rush is not a good band if you want to sing along, unless your range is the opposite of mine. L'chaim the Learned, or a Liachim. I don't know if I went for it, and I don't know if I got it. Gray in his 91st year, right? Why is he gray? He's old. I mean, this is, I think, I often feel like the stream is a greater insight into the writerly process than it is the world building process, and I'm not sure there really is a difference between world building and just being a writer. If you come up with something like in his 91st yeet, yeet is a vegetable they grow in Haldrum, and he loves them, and he's on his 91st. It's been a long day. He's been hungry. If you call somebody King Cyric the Grey, that leads to, right, a notion that character can be plot. Like, why is he the Grey? He must be old. He's in his 91st year. He remembers... I don't even know if this is legal. He remembers the... How long has Kalazanbar been fallen? Let's find out. Ancient Dwarven Kingdom. Have we really said how long it's been since the fall of I think it's within living memory. If I'm contradicting myself, we'll go back and clean it up later. Don't worry if you see me write something that contradicts something I wrote somewhere else. That is not a writerly mistake. That is an editor. That's not a problem with the writing. That's a problem with the editing. Editorially, I will go back later on. He remembers the kingdom of. It's a war in paradise. How about 3.5 octave range when I've been. The gray is a bit boring. Well, oh, the reason I can't type in hexographer is because your text size is 0. Is that what he's saying? No, it says right here, text size 12. Outline, that's the size of the outline, and there is no outline. Let's see. 91 is really old. Yeah, that's why it's notable. If he were 50, that would not be. So, I mean, that's the thing I like, is that he's old. He's notably old. Lock you underground. I wouldn't call it singing. Kid390. So yeah, let's talk about if he is if he's old, then he's old, and let's say he is he remembers the kingdom of Kalazanbar and yearns for those older days when the dwarves of the broken spine ensured peace throughout the land. Peace throughout the land. Look, sometimes you got to just write the obvious thing. Okay? Especially when it comes to fantasy. I think that it's good to have short, punchy stuff and to challenge expectations, but the reason people come to fantasy is because they want stuff they know. So every once in a while you have to write ensured peace throughout the land. But now, certainly closer to the end, to his end than his beginning. See, we just had a phrase, peace throughout the land, which is this kind of poetic thing. And then we immediately switched to a punchy line, like certainly closer to his end than his beginning, which is much more modern phrasing. So we don't want to, because we don't want to go overboard. We don't want to have writing fatigue. Certainly closer to his end than beginning. Cyric fears what will happen when he passes. His daughter will be queen. And I guess she's a princess. What's her name? What's this guy's name? What's his daughter's name? What is the name of King Cyric's daughter? I feel like I could remember Tal and Arafel or Northern Sanction, but Kalazanbar seems too far ago. Well, maybe. I'm not opposed to that. Does somebody want to explain to Winged Zephyr why the fact that there is a god in the Forgotten Realms named Cyric is not a reason not to Janella? Elaine? I don't mind Elaine, actually. That's a real name. Beatrice? I don't mind that. Will Scarlet, HS, nil pois for Becky. Although, I'm actually, yeah, it's not as... Astrid? I like Astrid, actually. Astrid. I like Astrid. What do we name the queen? Aeleth, Astrid? Maybe we don't want all the girls in our world to have names begin with A. Not Vivia, but how about Vivian? Vivian's not a bad name. Yeah, we should slate B. I should already. You're right. I should do that. Next time I'll make a Moobot command. Lisbeth. I like Lisbeth. That's nice. Is slow mode on? Actually, I don't think it is, and probably it should be. Did that work? Yep. Okay. I like Astrid too. Well, you said Astride, which is Elise. Elise. I like Elise. M Styles 11. Yeah, Elise. Princess Elise. What? Why does if Cyric the Grey, who's 91 and soon to depart this, soon to be of interest only to historians, if he's about to check out and he's worried about his daughter taking over, why is he worried? What is she going to do that makes him worried? I don't know. You tell me. We know it's probably something political, right? She probably wants to. Probably wants to. Is it just that she would make a terrible queen because she hates orcs? Yeah, yeah. I think that's got to be it, right? She hates orcs. Yeah. And Princess Elise, his daughter will be queen, and Princess Elise lost her husband to the orc. What do we call him? To the Warfather. Oh man, our orcs are badass. We have badass orcs. Warfather Valkun. To Warfather Valkun. Back when he was not Warfather. Back when he was a head taker. So I like that notion of I can't talk. Rather, lost her husband to the orc Warfather. Then a young head taker. Valkun. Cyric knows if his eldest daughter, King Lear, right? King Lear, yeah. If his eldest daughter becomes queen, the peace with the orcs, lowercase, will quickly convert to war. I think Elise is probably like, if this guy's 90, then she's probably in her 50s, right? Do 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 do, and do 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 do, bow bow, do do do. But change is. So, what is the name of the younger daughter? So if this is great. I love this. I love this. This is the thing is, if you were doing this, if you were the one streaming this, you would be curating different decisions. And you would end up putting together a world that more closely reflected your tastes. But because I'm the curator, I'm choosing and picking the answers that already appeal to me. So you're going to get a world that is kind of like one I would have built on my own. But the thing I like about the stream is being surprised and people saying stuff. And I'm like, ooh, I hadn't thought of that. That's really neat. Desdemona. Good answer. I like Miranda. Is it silly to have like normal English names here? I don't think so. I actually like, I think I'm going to go for Miranda. His younger daughter, Miranda, is, now I need to know something about her besides just she's not her older. By Quest 1993, thanks for stopping by and watching. Tell me something interesting about the younger daughter Miranda that makes, apart from just she would be a better ruler. I'm going to sneeze. Okay. I just saved you all from a fate worse than death. Is in love with an orc. Is in love with an elf. Let's not define Miranda by who she's in love with. Oh! Somebody said something interesting. See, this is what I mean about being like, ooh, I'm surprised. She should be a powerful wizard. In fact, she is. His youngest daughter, Miranda, is a potent, I'm going to say sorcerer. Enchanter. Enchantress? Sexist. Enchanter. And while Cyric would rather hand the reins of the country to her, whom he trusts. He trusts. Boom. Whom he trusts. The people are deeply suspicious of sorcery and would not follow a wizard queen. A wizard queen ruling from her tower of sorcery. All right, so again, somebody said she should be a powerful wizard. I'm like, oh, that's it. That's the thing, is that now we have the tension. Whereas the people probably know and like, and probably there are a lot of people, a vocal, traditional minority. Man, this is great stuff. Minority. And I think this is incredibly fertile ground to plant your character in. Because now your character... I think a great thing about making character is not just what's my class and race and my level and stuff like that, but also how do I feel about what's going on in this world, right? We have all these different political threads that are going on, and we have if you're a bard, now we have a thing for you to be a bard about, right? If you start in Haldrum, now we have something for you to care about. Or not care about. Like, not caring about any of this would make you an interesting character, right? Cyric knows if his eldest daughter becomes queen, the peace with the orcs will quickly convert to war. A vocal traditional minority would like this very much. Very much. And in spite of her hawkish sensibilities, the majority of the people of Haldrum love Princess Elise and remember her as a girl. His younger daughter Miranda is a potent enchanter, and while Cyric would rather hand the reins of his country to her, whom he trusts, the people are deeply suspicious of sorcery. Haldnerfallen, we're just working on the Northern Sanction. We finished and we're almost done. We're 2/3 of the way done. We came up with some cool stuff for Ardenia. We came up with something cool for Haldrum. And notice that I'm treating each of these places like its own place, right? It's getting its own definition. What do you guys think so far? How are we doing so far? How is the stream going? On a scale of 1 to 10, where 1 is you're not even watching anymore. Princess Elise is planning a coup. Yeah, I like that. Yes. Preparing for the inevitable succession war. Princess Elise has already forged a secret alliance with the Lord of the Bandit Crimes. Oh, what is the name? 7, 9. Let's get moving. It seems like we're about 7.5. That seems about right. Yeah. So, does Calabris have a theme? No. And does my setting when I run D&D, is there a theme? No. But I do like having a central tension. And I talked about this in another stream, and people misunderstood what I meant because I did not define it well. A great central tension is the Civil War, right? It allows for... Elvis Mitchell made a great comment when he was interviewing Quentin Tarantino about The Hateful Eight. He said, "You have made a post-apocalyptic movie that takes place after a real apocalypse." Right? Like the Civil War for an entire half of our country at the time was a cultural, military, it was in every sense of the word an apocalypse. And The Hateful Eight is a movie that takes place on the outskirts of civilization, right? So it's great. It's great. Look at all the different stories you can tell set in and around the Civil War, right? And or look at the fall of the Republic and the rise of the Emperor in Rome, right? Which George Lucas kind of half-assedly ripped off for Star Wars, right? That notion of the fighting the Empire, so having the Empire versus the Republic, right? That kind of central tension is a plot device, right? It's political, it's cultural, and it informs everything. You can spin all these stories, right? When you wonder who is my character, who is, apart from my name, race, and class, and all that stuff, what does he care about? What is important to my character? That central tension provides an easy answer. I remember Legend of the Five Rings. Central tension was the Emperor is dead, and all the great clans are competing to see who's going to become the next Emperor. Like, you don't necessarily have to have anything to do. Your adventures may never have anything to do with that, but knowing that that story is out there is a huge problem solved for a storyteller, for a DM, because it gives him an easy, gives you as a player, as a character, gives you as a DM an easy hook into any new character situation. So, what am I listening to? Marhel93 asks. Well, right now I'm listening to one of my all-time favorite songs, and for my money, the best song on Rush's seminal album, Moving Pictures. Actually, am I just listening to Moving Pictures? Have I failed to properly... No, it's on random. We'll listen to Rush because I'm a lot less likely to sit here singing along to Rush, just because Getty's range is fucking crazy. Anyway, yeah, Firefly had a great central tension, right? I completely agree. So, and you'll notice that notion of what is the central tension, Calabris doesn't. Well, actually, Calabris kind of does have a central tension, and that is, I'm going to zoom all the way out here. That is, okay, too far. Is there not a fit to? That'd be great. If Joe, if you're watching from Inkwell, it'd be nice if there was a fit to thing. The central tension is the fall of Calazanbar, which someone else was saying thought happened a long time ago, but I think it's within living memory, because it used to be there was a powerful dwarven nation here, and there was peace, and the people, the problems, there was always a solution, and that was have the dwarves take care of it. But then the drow and the dwargar came along, and now everyone's fighting for survival. So what had been, anytime you have a Hitler, a Slobodan Milosevic, anytime you have a powerful leader, and I just gave a bunch of bad examples, I'm sure there are good examples. Anytime you have a powerful leader who's keeping everyone here's a great example. Bismarck, right? Anytime you have this one dude, and it typically ends up being one dude, if you believe Don Kagan, and I do, this one dude who is keeping everything in check, one way or another, either through an iron fist or through diplomacy, and you take that dude out, you get an amazing situation that happens, which is this world where old rivalries, it's like you and I, we hate each other. We've hated each other for hundreds of years, but we couldn't really fight for a couple of reasons. Maybe because the guy in charge wouldn't allow us because we were under their thumb, or maybe because we were so prosperous under his rule that even though we both hated each other, our iPads still worked, so we said, well, screw it. But now that this guy's gone and everything's thrown into turmoil, all these old rivalries suddenly come to the fore. And so that's the situation here in Calabris, is Calazanbar is gone, and as a result, the Northern Sanction is at war with all of its allies, and they fight with each other, right? Was that true when the dwarves of Calazanbar ran the place? No. Sharp in the city. See, that was not singing, that was howling. Look at Clockwork's idea. Fine. Yes, that was the answer I was looking for, Clockwork. Clockwork saw where I was going when the text and anticipated my need and has filled it for me. I'll fill your need. What the hell were we talking about? Preparing for the inevitable. Wow, we know a lot about Aldrin. I am not going to do that thing. The only reason we're still doing this, by the way, is because we were kind of going around the map, naming stuff. What's this place called? What's this place called? And all of a sudden, we got to the Lost Kingdom and Narshul, where the Goliaths came from, and we got this explosion of content in one stream. And so, like, on the scale, like, what do we know? What do we know? What do we know? Like, oh, we know a lot about this. And I'm like, okay. So now let's go back to these other places and flesh them out a little bit. And we can't keep doing that. The fact that Haldrim just got a whole bunch more information about it than the other places is we can't then go back and make all the other places equal. And I did say Haldrim is where you probably are going to start adventuring. It's probably where Phandelver is going to be, although I probably wouldn't call it Phandelver because I think that's a silly name. It's a very Forgotten Realmsy name. It doesn't sound... Phandelver, Sojcanth, the Lost Caverns of Sojcanth. Sojcanth actually sounds to me like a real word in a real language, whereas Phandelver sounds like something somebody made up, and that's the only way I can explain why I don't like it. It's a completely ridiculous reason. Please do not judge me, overly harsh. Lord of the Bandit Tribes. I'm just going to paste Life Engine. Sethis, the Lost Legionnaire. No, Commander. I don't want to go too far down the Roman thing. The soldiers who rebelled and became the first bandits in the hills. A legendary general. Preparing for the forge the secret alliance with the Lord of the Bandit Tribe. Okay, so I feel like we've covered Haldrim. What did Craig say that was a great idea? I've never known. It's crazy that Craig is watching this. Where'd you go? Where? Wow. Oh, here we go. The leader of Cardus should be the Knight Defender of Cardus, ruled by the Knights of Cardus. After the last monarch failed to have an heir, we talked about this earlier. I mean, that's not a bad idea, obviously, but I really want there to be 3 rulers. I don't want there always to be an exception. I think sometimes we need to have. It's always not. There's a tendency to always do the but, right? It was hot today, but he was poor, but, right? There are 3 kingdoms, but one of them is. I think sometimes you just need to say, there is no but. It's hot. He's poor. There are 3 kings. One of them's a queen. So, Miranda's allies are, I think, the people. Oh, I'm sorry. Wait, how is she going to... Wait. Did I screw up? I did. I'm sorry. This is not Princess Elise. This is Miranda. People are going to be here. What? You just said... Elise? No. Because she is the not favored. She's not stupid, right? These are women in their 40s and 50s. They've been dealing with politics their entire lives. She knows that Elise is going to be... She's the favored of the people. She's the eldest. She's going to become queen unless Miranda does something. And so what has Miranda got? She's got this in her pocket. She's got this alliance. These are interesting characters to me, right? In the chat, a lot of people are like, oh, this character, she's in love with this. She's in love with that. And I'm like, no, it's not about this. Female characters are not defined. I understand the impulse. Don't get me wrong. I am a romantic at heart. But I hate that Deep Space Nine, Star Trek wheel of relationships where every girl the only virtue they have is what relationship they're going to be in. So we're not doing gods today. It's serious business. Although it's only 12 o'clock. We may get to gods. We're almost done, I think, with the Northern Sanction. And I thought that was going to take a long time. I like the idea that the Samurai John 94, I don't know what it was that I said that you liked, but I'm glad that you... oh yeah, Sethis wants war with the orcs. Yeah, I agree. Child King, completely agree. See, still a king. Very close to Craig's idea. Child King, still a king. Cardus, the largest standing army. Oh, see, interesting, but they use it for defense. They're under attack. They can't commit troops to the pass. They're defending against the men of the Scaled Hills, ruled by King... What's his name? Do I have a list of influences I posted somewhere, Fox and Raven? Am I addressing Fox or Raven? I'll answer your question when I know. So that's a very... So Leaf Bread has just posted a paragraph. And paragraphs I'm skeptical of because it's difficult for me to unpack. I like short, punchy ideas that inspire me. Godfrey? I like Godfrey. So here's the thing about names, about these names. A lot of them are classic, 14th century, uh, English names, and I'm okay with that for the ruling class, right? I'm okay. Cyric isn't. Cyric is, I think, a Achaemenid Persian, but that notion that these names, the names of the rulers, your character's name could be a completely fantabulous made up name, right? Classic D&D character name. Peasants have classic names. But I like the idea that the nobility, and this is maybe something I do in my world, so maybe that's why. This is maybe my own writing bleeding into this. I apologize. I like that notion that the nobles have these traditional classic names because it's evocative. It's one of those things where the name itself implies this notion of an older romantic age. I saw Wolfgang and thought somebody would rank Weinrod. Godfrey. I like Godfrey. Ruled by King Godfrey. King Godfrey. How old is King Godfrey? I think Sethis is allied with Miranda because she would put him on the throne. He would be king by association. Although maybe at the last minute he's going to switch which 15. I think 15 is about right. I think 15 is right. I don't think we want to go too young. He's I think he's old enough to. Here's what I don't want. I don't want there to be a regent, because that would be one of those asterisks. 3 kingdoms ruled by 3 kings, asterisk. Well, one of them isn't really a king, one of them is blah, blah, blah. No, I don't want any asterisks in this instance. We have lots of asterisks all throughout this place. Ruled by King Joffrey, the 15, the teenage. I could have said teenage. As a writer, I'm really skeptical. It's funny that I asked for an age. Is war with the orcs inevitable? It's a good question. The Doctor, 19,985. It's a good question, but I'm not going to... that's going to have to be for an editorial revision in the future. It is a good question, though, and I'm not sure that the answer should be yes, but maybe it is. War with the orcs. Right? Would it surprise anybody if it wasn't... So, yeah, I think Godfrey does have really great advisors, and that's where Craig's the 15-year-old ruler only recently came to the throne when his father, Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, the map and the write-up are always available online. You go to www.squaremans.com/collaborus.pdf, capital C. I'm going to scroll up here and grab a name. Grab a name for the knight commander. I like, somebody wrote Duntum, but I like Duman. It was what that inspired me to think. Aldred. Aldred's not bad. Aldred. Doom. Shot down the rising sun. On a world without end. No, it doesn't work. That doesn't work for me. Edmund, fuck it. I mean, screw it. I mean, forget it. King Edmund died in battle against the Snake Man. I don't necessarily want to say UNT, but just so people know what I'm talking about. Scale hills. Godfrey was raised to be a king and a knight, and at 15. Actually, here we go. The teenaged. This is better. The teenaged ruler. I'm talking about ages in a second. And at 15, 15 is already a capable horseman and warrior, eager to avenge his father. He is advised by Knight Commander. Actually, I think that's how hyphenated titles are supposed to work. Actually, I like the idea. Fairly sad panda. How sad a panda is that? Maybe something mysterious happened just. Well, I think that the story is that he died in combat. So let's find out. Let's see. Rumors persist that King Edmund. Oh, how about this? King Edmund's death was other than it seems. That is a terrible. That is terrible. Rumors persist that King Edmund's death was not the glorious last stand the bards sing of. The absence of a body to recover. See, they never found his body. The absence of a body mean the rumors may never die. What really happened? Matt doesn't know. Matt doesn't want to know. So I love the idea that the fact that Matt has an unread Google Hangouts message. Yeah, I turned off notifications because it makes a loud noise on my phone, actually. It's just my friend Jordy talked to me about his D&D game that he is planning on running with me. I don't think he deserted. I think the king. I think there probably was a battle. Maybe he was trying to make peace with the Snake Men. I don't know. Maybe he was. Who knows what happened? Maybe he's still alive. Maybe the Snake Men. Maybe the Snake Men kidnapped him and tried to ransom him back. Actually, nobody talk. Everybody shut up for a second. What's the name of Edmund's alive? What's the name of the? I use Google Hangouts. I have an idea in my head. I need to know the name of the Knight Commander. Give me a badass name for the Knight Commander. I know you can do it. I can feel it coming. In the air tonight. I bet the first answer is going to be awesome. Fenris? Okay, I was wrong. I'm sorry. Sorry, it's Strawman. Thrawn. Duncan? A couple people said Duncan. 2 different people said Duncan. Did I just tune into NPR? No, your mom just tuned into NPR. 2 people said Duncan, and Duncan is close to my heart. So, Duncan. Unbeknownst to the people, the bards. I say the bards meaning the people that tell the stories, that write the history. There may be a better way to express that. Unbeknownst to the bards, even the young king. Godfrey. No. Edmund is not dead. He was kidnapped. He fell in battle. His retinue slain. So there are no witnesses to what happened. Or are they? Or are there? End paragraph. End parentheses. His retinue slain, and he fell in battle. His retinue slain. The formulation of the sentence is poor. Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to go back and fix it. He fell in battle. His retinue slain. He was kidnapped by the Yuan Ti, who intended to ransom him back to Duncan. But Duncan is happy with Godfrey on the throne because the young king fine. Young king is in favor of an aggressive campaign over the mountains. He'll lead them over the mountains into the scale, over the mountains into the scale hills, there to wipe out the threat of the snake men, the hereditary threat. I like that. Hereditary. Thank you for fixing that, Google or Microsoft. I got my huge mega corporations confused of snake men once and for all. So what does that mean? That means that even though that means King Edmund was a realist, a pragmatist, willing to negotiate. Duncan did not approve and raised Godfrey to be the king. Duncan always wished. So this has got, you get it. Always wished Edmund would be. Boom. Duncan, Idaho. Yeah, that's why not. Well-known badass name, Duncan. Yeah, great. If you haven't seen Fassbender's Macbeth, it is unbelievable. Unfortunately, you're not going to be able to watch it in the theater where it needs to be seen in the theater. Knight Commander Duncan would not be played by Gurney Halleck's Yard 42. He would not be played by Patrick Stewart. Patrick Stewart played Gurney Halleck. So I like French names for knights. We'll throw some of those in. How do we deal with wizardry in this world? I don't know. I do believe Matt once worked for WotC. Why is that a relevant issue? Why is that? It's true, I did. I did not work at Wizards of the Coast. I worked for Wizards of the Coast. I was a full-time employee at Last Unicorn Games when they bought us. Fenris just wasn't good enough. So I apologize. Siard, did I pronounce it wrong this time? Or did I pronounce it more about Titan's Gate? We'll get there. God, you people are so hungry for information. So now Ardenia seems underdeveloped. Whatever. Your mom's underdeveloped. Sorry, that's just a thing I say when people make comments that I consider to be non-useful. I just say your mom, and then I fill in the non-useful. Shattered Kingdoms isn't bad, but it has that same problem I have. I like Spinelands better. I like Duncan played by Lawrence Fishburne. Yeah. I always like when someone says this brilliant actor should play this character. I'm like, yeah. Since you mentioned people distrust magic, why? Rom, the Space Knight, wants a reason for that, which is reasonable. But I just like it being cultural. That people don't trust magic. Magic is for wizards, and it's weird. Whereas farmers, normal people, they don't trust. They think it's like superstition. So salty. I'm sorry. Someone suggested I do settings for WotC. They do not need me to do settings for them. Although, if you're watching Chris Perkins, Mike Merles, if you need a third-party company to handle a birthright supplement in a respectful manner, and also somebody who knows how to write and has done it before, I would be the guy. I love that setting. Although you would just give it to Rich Baker, right? Rick Baker? I don't remember if it's... There's a couple of Bakers at Wizards of the Coast, and yeah. When you hear me make a your mom joke, I am not making your mom joke. I'm just saying that comment is not useful. It may be clever, it may be funny, but it doesn't. It's anyway. You get it. Birthright, my all-time favorite setting. So, but they're probably better people than me that could handle if they want. They're not really a setting company anymore. Settings. The common wisdom is that settings is one of the things that destroyed TSR. And yeah, no, that's true. I mean, I think Craig's right. Like, even though I just said people don't trust magic, I think that's true. That would be true up here. right? But down here, once you get to this port, once you get to Titan's Gate, they probably magic is probably a lot more common because it's a much more cosmopolitan city, right? I say your mom to my own kids. That's awesome. Uh, uh, yes, you made it, Andazlak. Didn't bad management destroy TSR? Well, I mean, you could say that about anything, unless they got hit by a meteorite. Yeah. Why did they have too many settings? Because of bad management. So here we know now a lot about these three kingdoms, the Three Kingdoms romance. I think we're good on these guys. Let's go talk about one of my favorite things in the setting. Let's talk about. Oh, wait. You're right. Wait, hang on a minute. We're not done. What is the name of this keep? So this is Haldrum manages the port city of Titan's Gate, which I would like to put some start new text. Titan's Gate. Let's see if I can get this to work. No. What if I hit return in the box? No. What if I say save new text? Nope. Ah! Oh, God. Why did it work that time and not another time? Delete selected. God, I'm so happy that I got just a piece of text to go on here. I hate that I'm liking Thief so much. That's funny. Castle Greywall, great name. So let's put select text. Boop. No. Oh, don't. It makes me so mad. Doctor, my brain hurts. Oh, it'll have to come out then. Please, Titan's Gate, please stop annoying. Remember when I said Photoshop probably better for putting text down? Good down there. Titan's Gate. Amesley is the best, yeah. Amesley is largely based on my friend Craig's character. Don't tell anybody. I really just want to move Titan's Gate down to the little dot. Oh, I'm so angry. I'm so angry. Okay, all right. Maybe it's because... I'm not zoomed all the way out. It really just doesn't want... it really just doesn't want to... You can't move the text box. That's it? That's it? How did you know that, Manlier? Mainliner, how did you know that? Mainliner, how did you know that that was what was going on? If my mouse... select text. If my mouse moves faster than the box, it deselects the box. That is exactly what is happening. Oh, God. Oh, God. I'm so happy. Okay. It's probably because Joe wants you to be able to just click and select stuff. Because there's not layers, right? So he wants it to be like whatever your mouse is pointing at is what it's going to try and move. So I completely understand why it does that. All right. So there's Titan's Gate. Let's fix the color there. Let's make it black so we can read it. There we go. So we know that this is Titan's Gate. I can move the text. I was testing it earlier. It's super infuriating. But Inkwell is one dude. So and I love this software. So the fact that, look, you're going to get a whole video out of me for Fantasy Grounds. And I love Fantasy Grounds. I use it all the time. Probably going to use it for my friend Bob's D&D game. But in spite of me loving it, it's not perfect. You know, it's not Photoshop. Photoshop's got thousands of people who've been working on it for 100 years. So tell me something about this. So here we have, we're going to need a name. Give me a, what? This region south of the pass. In fact, what's the name of the pass? I agree, Zyard 42. I think I pronounced your name differently every time I've said it. Zyard. Um, so, what is the name of this pass? Coldwind, the Maw. I like the Maw. I wouldn't call it Titan's Maw. I would just call it the Maw. It's just the crack. That's actually not as dumb a name as I think you meant to imply. Um, actually, I like the throat of Ran, but I think that's I think I'm just gonna go with the Ma. I know it seems maybe it seems obvious, but I like the simple name. Haven't we already decided? I don't know. No, I like the divide. Okay, Rom the Space Knight. Uh, let's see if we can't make this text thing work again. Start new text. The Maw. It seems super dramatic, but I feel like getting from here to there should be tough, right? Drow and Dwagar are going to attack you. It also could be some weather happening there that makes it difficult. Not impossible, right? They do it, but actually, I like the door. I like the door. Actually, I like the door. I like the throat. All right, all y'all, hang on for a second. We're gonna do a thingamabob. Uh, Pro Writer can type and look at something else. Uh, uh, what did I say I liked? I said I liked. Did I say I liked the divide? I think I did. Yeah. Now we may add a word in here, like a person's proper name or something like that. So I'm not committed to it just being the fill in the thing. But what do you guys think of this? It's a mountain, you idiot. What do you call that? What do you call that thing? That means it's what, the rock? Question mark. Too many hands on my time. Too many feelings. Too many things on my mind. Hadden Fallen's idea is pretty good. Well, I haven't seen it, so let's go scroll up. The Cleave. It just doesn't roll off the tongue. By the way, Matt, you were the first person to get that reference. I'm sorry. What was the reference? Oh, is it your name, Rom the Space Knight? Well, I'm not a Philistine. Although I don't know why. But I don't know what there is about people that would cause us to use them as. Uh, so people seem to like the Maw. I'm always afraid that it's because the one I liked, but I like the other ones, and the group has often gone against me when I put up these things. Yeah, the music is definitely helping. I hated Rush when I was a kid. When I was 15, 16, I listened to real music. I listened to Genesis and Yes, and Peter Gabriel and Kate Bush. I thought of Rush as heavy metal music, which I didn't like. I wrote off because I was an idiot. They played it on KNAC, therefore metal. And then we played D&D and other games at my friend Dave's house, which I think Craig was part of when we were kids. And that dude played Moving Pictures, Signals, Grace Under Pressure, Power Windows over and over and over again until eventually in my brain I went, I get it. And now Rush is certainly one of my all-time favorite bands. So I think we're stuck with the Maw. So let's Kate Bush, genius. Cheap and easy to say, but true. So let's can I just go click and put the click? Is it that, why doesn't the text tool start new text, the maw? I use music for my D&D sessions all the time. In fact, I have a playlist. You want to see it? I have a playlist. How do I have a playlist for the upcoming party going into the Underdark, into the Dwargar Fortress. Sorry, I apologize for the... La Via Strangiato. Here we go. What is... Sorry, here we go. Can I share this? Pardon me. I realize this is not the best television. I'm just trying to figure out how to share a playlist on Google Music thing. What's this? Nope. I guess I could just link to it. That is a hell of a URL. The can get out of control. Yeah, I know. I mean... This is not necessarily good D&D music, but it's ideally it's good. How do I share this playlist? Sorry. Here, maybe I should be doing it here. So here's... No, I don't want to... Add, edit, delete. I guess I could just... Wait, that's... What's this? Open queue? No. I'm so angry right now. If I had known this was going to take this long, I would not have begun the process. But now, having begun the process, I feel like I'm committed, and I need to figure out an answer to this. How big is this URL? No way. Anyway, I thought I could share this playlist, but no, screw me. Google doesn't want me to do that. So anyway, I would like to call it the Maw, but... I feel like the reason the text dropping thing doesn't work is that it wants me to... I can't just drop the text anywhere. It will only let me drop it in certain places, but I don't know that. Click the 3 dots. The 3 seashells? What 3 dots? I would like to... if somebody can figure out how to share a playlist on Google Music, click the triple dot. No. Yeah. Oh, I see. I thought you were talking about hexagonal. No, you would think that, wouldn't you? That would make sense, right? Here's 3 dots. What happens? I can add it to a queue. I can add it to playlist. I can edit. I can delete it. Can't share it. No. That's why. No. And of course, this music isn't in. That's probably why. Because this is my music that I uploaded. That might be why. No, Spotify, unfortunately, Spotify doesn't have Peter Gabriel's stuff on it. Because Peter Gabriel just finds the experience of using Spotify really poor. And I don't disagree. So anyway, the Maw, let's select this. That was a whole bunch of not getting any work done. I apologize. Oh, move very carefully. Oh, I screwed up. Yep, the Maw. Oh, I screwed up. The Maw. I think we need like a... Let's rotate that. There we go. So that'll have to be good for now. What is the name of... Oh, somebody has an answer. In the playlist on the left-hand side scroll menu, there should be a share and make public afterwards. In the playlist on the left-hand side scroll menu, left-hand side scroll menu, left hand, this is the left hand side. Sorry. I completely screwed that up. Mouse. Actually, what's this? Nope, same thing. Yeah, that's mainliner has got the issue correct. It's the fact that this is my music that I uploaded is the reason it's not working. So I apologize for just wasting it. Was that Mongolian throat singing? No, although here's something that I predict some of you will like. You guys can all listen to this while we build a world together. This is one of my all-time favorite things, and it is legit Mongolian throat singing. And man, this is some awesome music. Wow. You want to listen to that, close your eyes, and you hear in the music, you hear the sounds of riding on your horse over the steppes, through the grasslands. You hear the sound of the birds in the air. You hear the sound of the running river, right? These guys took, 2,000 years of culture and baked into their music. Anyway, could I put a link to this map and write up? No, I'm not going to. You can't make me. So what is the name of this keep? What is the name of this keep that this stronghold protects this whole area? It protects Titan's Gate, although I suspect Titan's Gate doesn't need that much protection. What is the name of the stronghold? I might even want to know what the name of this area is. Oh, that's right. People, I asked that before. I'm sorry. I apologize. Let me scroll up and find the answers. Excuse me. I'm getting a little bit of... I did ask it earlier, but now I think, unfortunately, yeah, we got sidetracked on. Nur, Mosquito 9 says, but Nur doesn't sound like a human thing. Faldrim, that's not bad. What are the caves for all over the map? I think they mark like where there are entrances to Underdark and dragons and stuff like that. Yeah, I haven't given... Unfortunately, this is classic. This is a classic problem in the stream, is that I've asked a question without appropriate constrictions. I have not talked about, like... Spineguard Keep. I think that's a little bit obvious, Craig. Spineguard Keep actually is not. It's growing on me. I was looking for something like a word, like a proper name, before, like a person's name, and then keep. Spineguard Keep is not bad. Spineguard, like I said, it's growing on me. What about it belongs to Haldrim. What about Deacon's Keep? That doesn't make any literal sense, but it's interesting. It makes me wonder, like, is Deacon a person? Was it you know what? I think I'm gonna go with Spineguard Keep. There are entrances to caves. There are entrances to dragon places, dwarven kingdoms. I have to go to the bathroom. I may need to take a break. That's how successful the stream is. I'm not ready to stop yet, but I may need to drain the main vein. What do you guys think of Spineguard Keep? That was Craig's idea. I actually don't mind calling it. Would be Peart. I I don't Ashen Keep. I don't mind that. I like Ashen Keep. I don't want a clever reference to the spine. I'm suspicious of clever references. So the problem with Spine Guard Keep, this sounds like the kind of thing that we're going to name it now, and I might come back to it later. The problem with Spine Guard Keep is that it sounds a little bit too literal, right? And I want it to feel like a place that is its own place. But we'll call it Spine Guard Keep for now. Oh, start new text. Spine Guard Keep. And I never know what is it that save text. What is it that yeah, whoa. That worked. Let's rotate 0. Wait, select. Rotate 0. And let's grab it and drag it very slowly. There's Spine Guard Keep, Titan's Gate, the Maw. Okay. Okay, so even though this is part of the Northern Sanction, and I think that they're constantly warring with the folks, the people of the Bantor Steppe, who raid this passage. So just getting from Titan's Gate to Spine Guard Keep, that's the first step in the adventure, right? Getting from the big metropolis to Spine Guard Keep, it is a big deal. What's the name of this area? It's a plain. Hills, plains, fields. Gus? An astronaut named Gus? Well, I don't think it's odd at all. Somebody has to run it, and that's one of the things that makes Haldarim powerful, is that they control Titan's Gate. Whoever controls Titan's Gate controls the Northern Sanction. No, I mean just a little area here. The Mirador Plain. I like that actually. Is that from something? Everything's from something, right? It's a name in the real world. The Mirador Plain sounds a little bit romantic, I think, unfortunately. I mean, it sounds like a science fiction. Mirador sounds like a science fiction name in this context. But I mean, or Elvish. I can't explain why it doesn't sound like it fits the other names. But I'm not opposed to it. The Lower Plains, not a bad name. The Mudlands. I'm not opposed to a name like that. What do you guys think of? Is that too evocative? Almost like not evocative. That's not what I mean. Like we don't know anything about Mirador or why they would have a plane. Lower hills, the lowlands. The lowlands might just be what we call it for now. Actually, is White Eagle. I like the idea of calling them the Red Plains because of how much blood has been spilled. It's not literally red; it's like metaphorical. You know what? For now, let's pass on this. We're not making good progress here. So let's talk about. We named the pass. We named the keep. So Titan's Gate, big metropolitan city. Very much not of the same kind of culture as the rest of this place because it's a melange of cultures. And then if you're trying to get from Titan's Gate up into the Northern Sanction, Spine Keep is the kind of rough, lean, muscular military outpost, right, that protects caravans that are going north because they need protection. So, enough with the thes. Relax with don't I'm gonna put thes in front of everything, if that's how I feel. Um, so let's talk about Zir. Uh, let's go to our StreamWorld document. If we can get Zir and the Bantur Steppe fleshed out, the Bantur Steppe already might be. Yeah. Oh, I would not say they attacked that city. I don't think they're just horse guys, and that city's a huge city. They're not. There's no Genghis Khan of the Bantur Steppes yet. The Kingdom of Zir, ancient Arabic, I should say, Arabic dragonborn of the desert, Arabic Fremen. We'll remove that reference later. Civilized, not nomadic. They constantly war against the Yuan-Ti. I did not finish that word to the east and the Thri-Kreen to the west off the map. Oh, because we like the Thri-Kreen. What is Zir's government like? I don't know. You tell me. We have kingdoms, and it is a king. It says it's the kingdom of Zir, so I guess they have a king. I think often in badly written fantasy, or indeed in badly written science fiction, they'll have a character who's called an emperor, but there's no empire. Right? And it's like, how do you have emperors with not an empire, or kingdoms without kings? People tend, I think, not to think about these things. I think that rhymed. A theocracy? The theocracy of the pale. People have been wanting a theocracy in this setting for a while, I think. Is this everything I do on Twitch ends up on YouTube? I think a theocracy is. How about Zir be a democracy? And it wouldn't be a kingdom. We could just change that. A democracy. A theocracy or a democracy? Let's find out. I think I accidentally typed Z. Instead of that was a Freudian typo. Instead of theocracy with a with a C, I typed with a Z. Theocracy. Democracy, theocracy, create poll. What do you guys think? I would imagine it's more like the classic Greek democracy, since I think our modern democracy would be considered weird to a primitive, medieval culture. Ooh, this is interesting. Democracy is slowly eking out a victory. Yeah, democracy is leading by 15%. So I guess it's going to be a democracy. But I don't know. Democracy is winning the Democratic vote. That's funny. I'm trying to think. I think the issue here is that I just don't call. I was going to say, do I call it the Republic? But then I thought, You know what? It's just Zir. The Dragonborn fashion. Right, I need to pee. Ta-ta for now. How's the hair, by the way? Every time I do one of these streams, I end up looking only at the end at OBS, and my hair has gotten completely out of control. And I'm like, oh my god, it's so stupid that I care about this stuff. This is what you get when you get to watch me for 2 or 3 hours. Is the Dragonborn fashion glass weapons and armor using the fire breath. Don't encourage me. Capital city, Xeris, the glass city, the shining star of the sand, literally made of stone and glass. The Dragonborn fashion glass weapons and armor using their fire breath. I think, what is, okay, so let me ask you a question. What is the name? Like, we make glass here in the real world, and we don't have fire breath. And you couldn't make armor or arms out of it. So there must be something special about... there must be something special about dragon-fired glass that makes it something that you could use as weapons or armor or building materials. Pardon me. What do you call that glass? Dragon-fired glass is the literal term, but what's Zaranthian steel? You know what? Samoth Nud. I like Zaranthian steel. Zaranthian. Zaranthian. I don't know why I like that so much. It sounds like something from Conan. I mean, what do you guys think of Zaranthian glass? Dragon steel. I like Zaranthian glass. Pyretic crystal is not bad, actually. It's kind of clever. Glass. You guys have seen the stream with my friend Lars, right? We were playing D&D in my friend Ray's campaign. This was just a couple months ago. And we had some kobold allies that we had managed to recruit. And Lars says, I was a player. Lars is like, what do we call the kobolds? I mean, like, I said, what do you mean what we call? We call them by their names. That one's Zik Zik and that one's Baz. And it's one of the only times I've seen Lars just laugh like out loud. like laugh like a normal person. Zaranthian steel. Yeah, okay. Dragon glass, also known as Zaranthian steel. There we go. Using a fire breath. Dragon glass, also known as Zaranthian steel, is light and strong, durable, and also what's the word I'm looking for? Also readily accepts enchantment. Exclamation point. Glaz. That's funny. It's Zik Zik and Baz. It's five A's. The third A is silent. So Zir is a democracy. Now, the notion of universal suffrage is somewhat modern. So, I think that it's a democracy where everyone... You like this? I'm just going to make this up. I apologize. I could have asked people, but maybe it's because I love Zeus so much. A democracy where only and all wizards can vote. Have not read A Song of Ice and Fire. I've bounced off that book 15 times. Dragon glass. They're dragons that make glass. So the fact that someone else has come up with dragon glass, George R. R. Martin doesn't get to own that idea. I'm not sure I would call it I think that you wouldn't call a democracy a you wouldn't have called the Greek democracy an androcracy because only men could vote, right? So the fact that there isn't universal suffrage doesn't mean it's like classically democracies have not had. In fact, our democracy didn't have universal suffrage until I think like within in some cases living memory. So I'm not. I'm not. I think just calling it a democracy where only and all wizards can vote. If you want to call it a magocracy, that's fine. That's obviously not something that ever happened in the real world. Excuse me. So who is the? But I think a guy with a rock. I think that there are lots of the fact that a guy with a rock asks, wouldn't that lead to a bunch of guys who are barely wizards just so they can vote? Yeah. Yes. Correct. Democracy is defined as a vote from all the people. Don Spark is not a historian, obviously. That's not a bad thing. There are lots of people. Some of my best friends aren't historians. So what do you call the guy who runs? Who is in charge of Zir? Who runs this place? The Shan? Is that a? The sorcerer? No, I like sorcerer king, but here we go. It takes. Unfortunately, there's this huge delay where I ask a question, and then it takes. Actually, you know what? I'm not. I just said the word actually twice in one sentence. I'm not. I'm not opposed to the idea of the leader of their culture being a grand vizier, and I actually like the idea that in this culture the word wizard, its root is this nation. Like that's it's not they're not really speaking English. They're speaking some other language, and a vizier, which I think is where we get wizard from, is from this place, Zir. Excuse me, my chair is making noises. We are running out of the end of. Actually, like Silverback has given a lot. The Grand Vizier Savage. It sounds a lot like savage, but am I just going to steal this idea, Silverback? Let's see. Grand Vizier is elected by the Council of 10. I don't know what that is. How many schools of magic are there in D&D? Is it 8? Is it 8 schools of magic? 10 schools of magic? I know you guys know. Going under your spinning wheels. 9? 9? 8. The Circle of 8. 8. The Council of 8. Is this a bad idea? The Grand Vizier is elected by the Council of 8, the leading wizards from each school of magic. And what did I say I liked? String of... I feel like we can do a lot more with Zir. Against the Snake Men. Actually, I like that idea, Clockwork. Grand Vizier. Oh, the Council. I agree. I agree, Craig. The Council of Seven. Each school of magic minus necromancy. Because what? Why would a wizard be called a snake eater? It's called the snake eater, so Savage the snake eater, so called because of his string of military victories against the Snake Man. That was Silverback's idea, and I thought it was a good one. I like the idea that each school of magic is a different color. But how many butts does a good sentence need? Because there were 3 in that one. So Silverback said each school of magic is a different color of Dragonborn. But does that make any sense? It's a cool idea, but like, does that mean that when a Dragonborn is born, he's born like you're born an enchanter? I'm not sure that would make sense. Excuse me. A growing necromancy populist movement has seized the country. That sounds cool. I think that can be, we can't answer every question here, so I think that leaving some things like that to the DM is a good idea. My water has changed. Are the non-fire breath dragonborn? Are there non-fire breath dragonborn? I did not know that. Oh yeah, like there's acid breath and stuff like that. Somebody likes. Actually, I like the idea that it was once a circle of 8. Well, it gets a little bit thorny. It used to be 8, but they abandoned. Yeah, I don't necessarily think I want to avoid. I want to avoid a dragonborn's color determining anything, because then that means that's it. Again, it's a caste system that they would be born into. And I mean, maybe if I think that in your version of Collaborus, if you want the dragonmen to have a strict, rigid hierarchy of caste, that does somewhat go against the idea of them being a democracy. They vote on stuff. It's I do like the idea that Zir is technologically. Let's see, the Men of Zir. I think, even though they're Dragonborn, I think Men is still appropriate. The Men of Zir fashion. Well, didn't we say, yeah. I'm just trying to think. I apologize. I'm not revealing my thinking process here. Somebody suggested that very early on, as soon as we started talking about Zir, and it planted itself in my head, was saying that Zir should be technologically advanced. Okay, what does that mean in a fantasy setting? I keep saying medieval. I shouldn't. That's a red herring. In a medieval, they don't have lasers or combustion engines, but I think that they probably do have clockwork stuff. People had been suggesting earlier that the dwarves of Korem were clockwork. No, they're golems. They use magic. They don't. But when I say clockwork, I literally mean fashion elaborate clocks and timepieces. Not clockwork magics. They have hyper accurate maps of the stars and their procession through the sky. The calendar of Collaborus is the Zir calendar, is the Zaranthian year. So they have technology. They have clocks and timepieces and timekeeping. That is the thing that makes them. The Antikythera mechanism. Correct. That is exactly what I'm talking about. They. I like that idea. It gives them a little bit of flavor. So I feel like we're missing something about Zir. How do the folks of Zir get around? They can do calculus? I actually like that idea, Geek Magic. far in advance of any other culture in Calabris. Craig, what do you get right before you get calculus? What was infinitesimals? I think infinitesimals is right what Newton was up against when he was like, screw it, I'm just going to invent a symbol that means instantaneous change, and I'll figure out what to call it later. And are right on the cusp. This is not good writing, but somebody just said, Colville, you rock! No, you rock. Developing calculus. No, I don't mean. Yeah, I know what class you take before you get to. I think Craig has left the chat. I know what class you take before you take calculus. I mean, what concepts are you wrestling with? Right? What was Newton working on? And if I recall correctly, he was working on the concept of estimation. Oh, Craig has not left the chat. Hang on a second. Let me look that up. How would they phrase that? Newton had some crazy term for infinitesimals and estimation, and he was like, he's like, this doesn't make any sense, but I need it. I'm just going to give it a symbol that I can manipulate mathematically, and it completely unlocked the way his brain works. Developing approximation estimate in advance of developing a cusp, and have, I'm sorry, advanced approximation and estimation in this is silly that we're talking about math here. On the cusp of inventing or discovering. I just like the idea that somebody could decide, a DM could decide that there is a wizard in Zir who has invented calculus, and now there's going to be a huge explosion in technology. So I asked a question earlier, and people happily have been ignoring my math nerdness and are answering the much more interesting question of how do they get around. Chariots are, not sure how chariots would help us in the sand. The sands of Zir. Glass roads? That's neat. I'm not missing out. Impossible dreams, experience to extremes. We used to say this was the D&D song because we all wanted experience to extremes. I'm not. Yeah, that was it. Flexions is what he called it. He called them Flexions. And he was like, this is a terrible name. He's like, but I got to call it something. So there's a bunch of really cool ideas in here, and I can't really pick one. I like the idea of glass roads. I'm going to make a list for now. I'm just going to write down glass roads. Lighter than air? Not literally hot air balloons. Ballons. But, you know. I think you could have chariots if you have glass roads, right? Because they just go on the roads. Or do they actually just like have sand ships? Sand ships? Is that too crazy, or is that just crazy enough? Sand ships, skiffs. Is that too dark, son? Dire Triceratops. A hexaflexagon. It's a great video by the math person. I just doesn't have to be a balloon. So I like the idea that they're knights ride giant salamanders in a battle. The actual kind of salamander, not the D&D salamander. You left your mark upon. I think lighter than air is crazy. We don't want to give these guys, like, if they had that technology, they'd be running this place. I remember. We're talking about a democracy of Dragonborn, and sand ships feel like too much. Look, you have to draw your line somewhere, and it's arbitrary. You would draw your line a different place than me. I feel the way you were. But you know it's no good. I like this Zarenthian year. I'm happy with that. So I like the glass roads and sand skiffs. I think modern that their nation is bound by the they ride giant sandworms. That's ridiculous. Excuse me. By heart, that was who it was. Yeah, you know who I meant. You know who I meant. I got her name. I got her first name right. Bound by the. What would they call their glass roads? I'm trying to think. I think I'm going to change the music out now that I've proven this concept is working. Rush is. I may regret this. We may go back to Rush. I apologize. Robert Palmer. The Shining Way. So that was better. Yeah, besides, right now, Haldner Fallen is correct. You out. I knew what you were all about. The way. I actually was thinking, it's funny, Spin a Yarn says the ways. I thought they would just call them the ways. The sandways. The sandways? The sandways? The desert ways? I like the with the kenning that the ancient Scandinavians had for the ocean was called a whale road. So I like something like that. The Shining Path sounds, I don't know, I feel like I've heard that before. The glittering way, found by the glittering way, a network of glass roads connecting their cities. So, I mean, this is inarguably the coolest place in Calabres. We just have to accept that. Some place has to be the coolest. Why not this one, right? A glittering way, a network of glass roads connecting their cities, traveled along by chariot. Who draws? That was what you guys were talking about. Chariots. What kind of... I told you twice. I was only trying to be nice. Only trying to be nice. Oh. By the way, it is hot in Southern California. It's probably 90 degrees outside. Cause I won't give, guilty cause I won't give in. Yeah, what kind of... Wandering Bishop asks a good question. Whatever these things are, I guess they're probably... Are they hooved animals? What pulls... They don't have to be fast. I think there's a common misconception that we use horses to pull stuff because they're fast. No, that's not true. They're good beasts of burden. So, do they have polarized sunglasses? No, they are. They have scales that reflect that protect their eyes. It's like built-in. what you were all about. Turtles, didn't mean to turn you on. Boule, no. That's like Africa Hot. Centipedes, no. Sand scorpions, no. Homunculi or constructicuses, why not salamanders? Is that too weird? Giant lizards? I think it's just gonna be giant lizards. I mean, giant salamanders are giant lizards. Giant beetles! Giant beetles! Sorry. I didn't mean to scream in your ear. I apologize. Giant beetles. That's crazy. All right. Okay. All right. Everybody shut up. You know what's going to happen, right? What pulls the chariots of Zir? Sorry. Why Vern? Why not Vern? What pulls the chariots of Zir? Something's got to pull them. And it's a fantasy setting, and we're out here in the crazy desert with dragonmen and fire. So what is it that... we're pulling all these weird ideas. I know. Maybe no one will use this setting because it's too silly. Or maybe it's just silly enough. No, you're the one who ran. It's because you can. It's all right. 'Cause I don't mind. Ostriches isn't that bad an idea. Why doesn't anybody stay together anymore? Humans! Humans! Mush! Whoosh! Mush! Whoosh! Lizards. People don't like lizards. People like beetles. I don't know. Beetles is crazy. I may be about to overrule chat. I feel like something like ostriches, but desert birds. Desert birds. What is the name of the ostrich-like desert bird? The flightless ostrich-like flightless desert bird that is unique to Zir. Because that I can get behind because it still feels like a real thing. Fairly sad panda. Yeah, well, I'm the one who was trying to decide it. So it's even weirder for me. Camels, I mean, beetles are too crazy. I agree. I actually, I was singing Phil Collins, Lex Mandrake. This is my playlist called Listenable, which is literally hundreds of songs, and I'm like, yeah, that's listenable. I mean, what do you guys think? Okay, all right, let's fix this. Let's do a new poll. New poll. Real. This is the real poll. The last poll was just silly. I had to. Makes you wonder why. Okay, for reals. Stand by. Or I should put this in. Sorry, people watching this. Rhino creatures just reminds me of Warcraft, which I don't mind. I played Warcraft quite a lot, but it just reminds me. That. Whoa. Flightless desert birds unique to the desert is winning. Camels. Screw it. It's the desert. You get camels. Who wrote these? Who wrote these options? The link gives not found. Well, people are voting, so some 63 people have found it so far. Link not working. I don't know what to tell you. It's uh, people are voting, so people are. Well, what are those things on Tatooine? Tattoos. Uh, just give me a cool fantasy sounding name. Not oh, Chicago. Give me a cool, legit, original, not name of a bird or anything. I don't know why so many people are getting the not. 72 people have voted, so there's obviously something going on with the. Give me some crazy. The Moa. The Moa is not bad. The Gurak. See now there. The Elkus. Yeah. What are these? Yeah, they sound great. The Elkus. That sounds a little bit like elk. I really need a moderator to ban people who give silly suggestions. All right, I'm putting this away so that people don't get distracted. The Mizani. I like Mizani. All right, I think we've got enough suggestions. Now I just gotta pick one. Stronger every day. Oh yeah, I just like looking some of these names up that people suggest. Apparently, some of these names are real things from the real world. Oh yeah. Wanted it this way. I'm feeling stronger every day. I'm going to pick one of these names. Everybody stand by. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, the music is definitely helping. We're at 2.5 hours and I'm not ready to slow down. Ba-doom, bow. Yep, I'm going with Elkus. Chariot pulled by the Elkus. Flightless. Large. Ooh, baby. I can see so easily. Large, flightless, desert birds. Was the worst thing that happened to me. Yeah. Well, yeah, but now I want to sing along. Shut up. Leave me alone. I apologize for those of you upon whom I'm inflicting my voice. But this, you tune into the stream, this is what you get. Okay, so the nation is bound by the glittering way, a network of glass roads connecting their cities, traveled along by chariot pulled by the Elkus, large flightless desert birds. But in the deep desert, the more primitive, older, classical dragonborn civilization still use no command performances. Still use the sand skiffs. The wind-powered sand skiffs. Feeling stronger every day. I'm okay with that. Haldner Falm. Let's keep it the Z's instead of S's. So I feel like we know a lot about Zir. We know what kind of democracy they have. We know who they're at war with. We know how they get around. We know who their knights ride giant salamanders about. Yeah. Okay, so what else is there that I wanted to get done today? We talked about the Northern Sanction. We talked about Zir. Let's talk about the Bantor Steppe. And then I think we're going to be done. Done for today. I wonder how you. This is a song. This is crazy. Can you see this? From the Transformers original soundtrack. There's some deeply, deeply cheesy 80s music on the original animated Transformers movie soundtrack that I have a lot of affection for. So, let's talk about the Bantour Step, and let's get... where is the Bantour Step? Come back here. Wow, this thing, look at this, 7 pages, not bad. 3,000 words, which is like a day or two's work if I were just writing. The children of Tur, the Bantour Step. Bantour means the children of Tur, animists who see gods and everything. The greatest of which is the volcano, Tur. Tur is the father of fire. I like how you thought we'd have this done in 1 or 2 streams. Well, we could have done it in 1 or 2 streams, but there would have been a lot less detail, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. So it's just a question of where we put the level of detail, and I think we're doing pretty well. I think we are almost done with the fleshing out, and then I want to do probably the next episode is going to be let's drop some places in and talk about the gods a little bit. People keep asking about the gods, and it's something that we have to answer because they're clerics, because it's D&D. So the Bantour believe Tur's ash is holy and paint themselves with it before combat. So we already know a lot about the Bantour Step. They call their elite cavalry the Ash Wind. When you see these horse riders covered in ash, you know shit is going down. So all I really want to know about the people of the Bantour Step is what do they call their leader, their government? They're not Centaur. No, don't be ridiculous. Well, the good news is Master Vanus has a whole book full of magic items in the DM's Guide. Do they call him a Khan? Is that not... That's pretty obvious, which is not always bad. The Fire Speaker. I think the Fire Speaker is their priests are the Fire Speakers who ritually build ritual bonfires. To commune with their god. The Ash Lord. Oh my god, it's Matt Colville. The YouTube DM mentor I disagree with half the time. It's hard to disagree with. You don't have to do it this way. You can do it however you want. Actually, I've had people in my comments on my YouTube thing tell me, no, there is a correct way to do things, and me saying that you can do it how you want is wrong. Those people are a lot of fun to mess around with. If you ever see me write as a comment, well, I'm glad we got that settled. That's my way of saying your one true wayism is perhaps not in accord with the spirit of this Ash Lord. What do you guys think of the Ash Lord? The problem is, I think the Ash Lord would be the leader of the Ash Wind. That's their elite cav. So I need something that doesn't have anything to do with Ash. And I don't mind Khan. I don't mind something that... I don't mind a proper word that doesn't have, like, tomorrow fade away like frozen photographs. Remember, forget... To ever regret, I tell a beautiful lie, and I would die if you find out. So I'm just looking for who is the guy that runs this place. Did not open up my mouth all the same. It's a shame, it's a game, it's a war, it's a how we're always fighting for. Sorry. You guys think the Forger? No, see, these are all, so, like, you know, Khan is fine, but it's something unique and appropriate, I think, to our world. Khan at least in the language I know, doesn't have anything to do with fire or volcanoes. It's just a word, right? The Kai isn't that also something? I've heard that a million times. I guess what I'm looking for is something original. All right, so I'm gonna have to make something up. Actually, so that's not bad, but I think something like would be better. Oh Lord, Brahm. Hi, my name's Brahm. Hello, Brahm. Uh, Yazgor. And what's the so? Let's forget the guy's title for a second. What is the name of the dude? Actually, let's take a look if this is. Maybe we'll just do it. We are getting late. It is getting late in the day. I think that the head of maybe it is the land of double vowels. That makes sense. Buzz. um, Hang on one second. I say that a lot in this stream. Uh, let's watch Matt stare at chat for 3 hours. Let's see. We're gonna have to wrap this up soon, and I just want to understand the nature. These guys are nomads. They are. Yeah, so fire speakers led by I guess the chieftains. I guess we could just call him a chieftain for now. Actually, led by their chieftain, the Gan, a hereditary title named for the first ruler of the Horselands. There we go, done. So it's kind of like what Craig's saying, in that it's I don't think they I'm not well yeah I'm not sure is White Eagle if they're I mean they're nomads, so I think their villages are first nomadic or nomadic. Oops. I think they have tent cities that move around. Fierce nomadic. Mubot, I'm trying to just spend more time making sure that the stream is titled correctly, that Mubot has the right messages and stuff like that. So is there? I feel like we almost know enough about these guys. We know about their priests. We know about their elite cavalry. And so let's see. Hang on a second. They're. Oh. The Land of Make Believe by the Moody Blues. They're as a rite of passage for for their adolescence, teenagers or something. We kind of invented adolescents. They raid the what do we call this? They raid the caravans, carts. They raid the to joy. Spineguard keep the road from Spineguard keep the Titan's Gate. They raid the road from high and low. Spine guard keep to tighten. This is something I'm stealing from history. The men of the Northern Sanction consider this an act of war. Men are killed in these raids. But the Bantour cannot be negotiated with. Their response is always, children must learn to be men. Children must learn to be adults. What can be done? Because they're not. It's not a law. It's just a tradition. This is something that the adolescents do to prove manhood, and it's like, well, they got to do something. Sorry, like they don't have that. This is kind of the experience that the American Army had with the Navajo. It was like, well, if you want them to stop, stop them. Like they're not our employees. So we're gonna do lots of rivers, I think, Vanderpike. No, I'm not. We're not gonna put every town on the map. I like Nitrum's suggestion that they burn their dead, who to their god, and create the funeral pyres they use to dispose of their dead. I think we're done. So now we know a lot more about the Bantour Steppe. We know who runs that place. We know, again, we have a little bit of a central tension, right? I think the folks of the Bantour Steppe are pretty happy. They are happy, nomadic horse people. They don't have they from their point of view, they get along with everybody because they have nothing anybody wants. They are moderately prosperous, but the tension comes from the fact that they're constantly raiding the civilized men of the Northern Sanction. And the men of the Northern Sanction are like, this is awful. This is this constant, like, it just constantly disrupts trade. It's the reason they had to build Spine Guard Keep. But the Gan, the leader of the Bantour Steppe, is like, well, if you want to stop them. So I think that's it. No, he's not a shaman leader. Their shaman is the flame speakers, that we call them. The fire speakers. So what did we talk about today? We talked about the Northern Sanction. We got that worked out. We talked about Zir, and Zir is inarguably the coolest place around here. We had already talked about Nar Shul and Dead Kingdom. That was kind of one of the early streams that prompted. We have to talk about the Drow. Let's talk about. We're not done. No, exactly. No, they don't hate the people. They just raid them. It's not even the adults. If you talk to an adult, the adult would look at the kids and say, "Oh, I'm sorry that thing the kids do bother you. Take it up with the kids." Right? It is their way of proving that they are adults and no longer, like, if it were children doing it, if it were 5-year-olds doing it, the adults would say, "Oh, we're sorry," and they would punish the children and say, "Don't stop doing that." But it's not children that are doing it. It is children on the cusp of being adults. And this is how they prove that they're adults. And there are probably lots of ways to do it, but this is one of them. And so they're like, look, this is how we're sorry that you guys are over there and it bugs you. Do something to stop them, right? Because these guys are kind of 24 miles per hex, Casares. There's a great, I strongly recommend the book. In fact, let's find a link. I don't get any kind of kickbacks from these people when I link to stuff, but I very strongly recommend this book by, what's his name? By Hampton Sides. We're going to do a pantheon. Well, we'll do some gods. Blood and Thunder is a fantastic book about, it's ostensibly the life of a real dude named Kit Carson. But it's the author using the life of Kit Carson to tell the story of the taming of the American West and the process of the American Army just expanding to the sea and how they would use these trackers to help them navigate the Indian lands. And Kit Carson was one of the best. He was one of the last mountain men. And these soldiers would go, like, the American Army would take over places that had been previously owned and run by the Mexican government. And the villagers in these towns were like, okay, well, the Mexicans used to run this place and now the Americans do. What are you going to do? They weren't super interested in who was in charge. They were just trying to survive. And their enemy, was the Navajo. And so when the American army shows up, they're like, well, we're the American army. We'll take care of them. The Mexican government couldn't do anything about it, but we're and it turned out to be a lot harder than they thought, because these guys didn't, and they would go into the Navajo lands, and the Navajo would watch these guys and go, this is amazing, these guys must be incredible warriors, that they would penetrate, they would just brazenly walk into our territory like this. And the American soldiers they all wrote, literacy in America peaked somewhere in the 1700s, I think. They all wrote journals, they all wrote letters back to their loved ones, and they would write about the Navajo life and culture they found, and they were like, these guys are amazing. This is like the ultimate. It was like they described it as being a utopia. These were American soldiers writing about the American Indians. They said, we think we have a democracy. We do not have a democracy. These guys have a democracy. And this was something that the Native Americans would do. They would raid these towns. They would steal cattle mostly, but not only that. And when you went to try to negotiate with them, they would be like, well, they didn't have a government. They didn't have, it was like, if you want them to stop them. Like, that's how the world works. So that's where I stole that idea. Let's talk about the Drow and the Dwagar. We have two different nations here, and I want to flesh them out before. The Veil was done early. We know a lot about the Veil, I think. Although maybe we need to do a little bit more work on the Veil. I don't think we need to get it done today. I dislike Drow as the emo elves, so let's not make their entire race special snowflakes that are outcast by the world at large. Okay, we won't do that. Yeah, well, Yard 42 being conquered and brutalized, we'll do that too. Well, Winged Zephyr, I think that because the Drow are matriarchal in D&D, I think we kind of have to have them be matriarchal here. I don't want the things that you learned in D&D to end up being not true here. Was looking forward to building a pantheon. Really? I wonder what. Yay, Matt is ignoring me. Well, I don't know. What are you saying, Trocaf? Well, I mean, yeah, I'm not. I mean, I don't want the. I don't know. Like, I don't want the path. I don't want the Maw to be this like haunted pass. I just want it to be tough to get through. Vanderpike, it's not even so much that there's just a lot of it, a lot of material that we might as well use. It's that I don't necessarily want you to have to relearn everything just to play in this game. Let's see. I haven't asked a question. I'm looking at the chat as though I'd asked a question, but I haven't really. What is the name of the Drow Nation? I am starving. I've not eaten all day, and I just went shopping yesterday, so I have a lot of delicious foods. No, I like inverting tropes too, but like I don't think Drow being matriarchal is a storytelling convention. I think it is something that Dungeons and Dragons has established about the Drow. So, open my mind, do a new kind of way. All the good that you said. So let's go. So these are, keep in mind that these are, even though it's Master Maven, is there a way for me to... I'm tempted when people give me nonsense answers to be like, no, enough. Because it does not help us get things done. We have a goal here. Yeah, the drow being matriarchal is to dwarves what being short is. I basically agree. So this is an underground nation, right? Like the dwarves. These guys live underground. Dar Emir. I actually like the Dar prefix. Like it's like Dar is cave as Tal is forest. So let me take two different things. Dar Diathar. How about that? That sounds good to me. That's crazy. Do we have Drow in here anywhere? No, we don't. So let's put it in here. Let's put it near the top. The underground kingdom of the Drow. Sorry, my brother made me type it. No, like I don't yet want to really time people out for doing it because I know it's it's not that I think Master Maven 75 is a bad person. It's just that I have to discourage people from being silly, otherwise we don't get work done. So yes, a Dar Diathar. In fact, I think there needs to be I want to put a diacritical mark over him. Let's see. Allies, once allies of the Dwargar. Now that the two peoples, once the two underdark, once the two nations had succeeded, overthrew the ancient Dwarven kingdom, they instantly began fighting. And now experience a Cold War. Always a Cold War of spies and assassins. Always on the brink of tipping over into outright war. None of the men of the northern, I say men in the classical sense of human, none of the men of the Northern Sanction devoutly consider this something devoutly to be avoided. As soon, but it's a good feeling as soon as war breaks out between the Drow and the Dwagar. The Maw will become impassable. And trade with the outside world via Titan's Gate will end. There. I will take Haldner Fallen's suggestion here. It's a good feeling to know. What is happening? Here we go. Dar Diathar. So, once the underground kingdom of the so we already know a lot more about this place. We can, in fact, we can fix the map. We can fix the map and start new text. Dar. In fact, let's not try to. App. I always come home to you. Uh oh. I got the little spinny whirly thing. There we go. Aha! It needs to be white. It needs to be much larger, for one thing. Deep inside my soul, I am yours. Whoa, it's big. Big enough, though, I think. And it's a good feeling, yeah. It's a good... Oh, we're going to have to go... How am I going to... So 280? I'm getting close. 320? An empire with an empress? Fair enough. There we go. Yeah, Dar Diathar. The Drow. That's cool. Empire of the Drow! Too many kingdoms, none of empire. Ruled by the Empress Lasine. No, because that's from Malzahn. I apologize. I'm enjoying myself quite a lot, so I'm not being as I'm not there's a lot of me just thinking and reading instead of talking. Who is the Empress of Dar Diathar? Good feeling to know. Yeah, spiders are a big part of Drow culture. I'm not. There are spiders all over the place. Sure. Driders. Nelame. I'm not opposed to that. No, I just said that empires should have emperors. That's all. In fact, let me make this express. Within the vast expanse of Dar Diathar. Oops. Well, no, that was right, but wrong. In fact, are several kingdoms, because that's what an empire is. An empire is what you get when several kingdoms, kingdoms or several kingdoms ruled by. What is the name of the court of the Dark Elf Queen? I like Malrel. I like, but I think Morel. Ruled by the court of and their empress. Is that too? Is that the Starless Court? I actually like that. I like the Starless Court because they're underground. Whoa, whoa, rescue me. Run like a refugee. Craig is trying to subvert the chat by texting me directly. You guys don't like hello, Arcan? You want to say hello? No, I don't think it's the Court of Stars. I think it's the Starless Court. Right? Because I think Drow are not evil in this setting. I think they're the bad guys. Evil is the Court of the Crimson Queen. I appreciate that joke. If indeed that is a joke. Excuse me. Bill Bruford. There's a great interview with Bill Bruford, the drummer from Yes, who was also the drummer from King Crimson. That's what the Court of the Crimson King was their first album, In the Court of the Crimson King, where he talked about, he goes, everybody thinks that being in a band is like, are you all your friends? It's like one big family, like we're all Bon Jovi. Everybody just gets along. He goes, nothing could be further from the truth. When I was in Yes, he goes, all we ever did was fight. We would argue about whether this should be a G sharp or whether, and he goes, we would fight about everything, as opposed to being in King Crimson, where you were just expected to know. I love that. Roberta Fripp. So I like the Starless Court. I'm just going to write it down because I've said I like it several times and no one has suggested. Dan Connolly, if you're watching this, I wonder if you could just have their device just be a black field. Not a fan of the Starless Court. I don't know, because I think it's neat. So Samon, man whose name I cannot pronounce, is not a fan of the Starless Court. So I guess that means we should change it. Uh, a bunch of people suggested names, so I'm gonna go grab a name for the queen. I don't. I went with Morel, but I don't think. Maybe I just doesn't have enough apostrophes in it. A career of evil. I'll make it a career of evil. People are suggesting names for the queen. I'm not sure I'm crazy in love with any of these. Give me a crazy drow name. Captain us up, nerds. Nerds! Yeah, JC Let's Play. That's the way I thought of it, was that they are oh no, that's a cool. It's got a V in it. It yeah, I think it is a matter of pride to them that they don't have stars. Like I think stars are dumb. Now these are some cool names. This is what I said. Give me a cool drow name, and I now have a happy sufficitude of them. Actually, I don't mind an apostrophe in here. Let's see. I think the Deep Court Craig I would probably save for the Dwagar. Is this too silly? It's short. Maybe I need something else. The Underground Empire of the Drow, once allies of the Dwagar, once former allies of the Dwagar. I don't want to use the word once too quickly. And former allies of once the two nations overthrew. That is a word, not two words. Overthrew the ancient Dwarven kingdom. Overthrew. In fact, I don't need to say ancient Dwarven kingdom. We have a name for that. Overthrew Kalazanbar. They began instantly fighting and now experience a cold war of spies and assassins, always on the brink of tipping over. Into open conflict. Actually, that's not a bad name. Let me look that up and make sure that that's not obviously from something. Nope. Google's like, what is that? Which means it's a good name. Velastrovics. There's something about Velastrovics that sounds like a series of syllables that people with mouths and brains would put together. It's easy when you're coming up with fantasy names to create names that lack. That's the thing Tolkien was always on about, is that there was he liked making up fantasy stuff, but it needed to sound real. And as a linguist or a proto-linguist, a philologist, he wanted it to sound like a formulation that was plausible. So there's something about Velastrovics that I quite like. Unfortunately, G-Man will Control-Shift-V do it because... Yeah, see? Control-Shift-V. You're thinking of Chrome. Works in Chrome. Doesn't work in Microsoft Word. So, Velastrovics is the name of their empress. And what is her title? Give me a title for her. I am literally listening to Eye of the Tiger by Survivor. Because it's on the... I've got 400 songs on here. See you later, Fmusquito. 9. Go enjoy running D&D. I believe in you. Just a man and his will to survive. Sorry. It's such a cheesy song. I love it. The Fate Weaver. The Fate Weaver. Dark Star. The Dark Star. But they're the Starless Court. She's the Dark Star. Ooh, I like... Actually, I like... Hang on. I like Dark Star. The Dark Star. The Fate Weaver. No one's paying attention to this, right? No one's seeing. No one's watching this. We can come up with crazy stuff. The Fate Weaver. Her device is a black star on a deep purple field. Boom. Mr. Connolly, that's for you. No, Dark Star is seriously 70s. Excuse me. Anything I should avoid running a one-player D&D game. Not too much combat. That's my only advice to you. Craig, did we ever do a one-on-one game with Darkhad Creole? The half-dragon... Dan Connolly! Ooh! Dan Connolly is one of my favorite people. Hey, Phalanx666. Before Darkstar was an X-Men character, it was a movie by John Carpenter, his student film. If you haven't seen Darkstar, if you haven't seen the movie Darkstar, go watch it. I do not smoke out. I don't apart from, actually it wouldn't be a bad idea right now, by the way, to have, where'd my pipe weed go? This will keep me going for a little while longer. Apart from the occasional pipe of tobacco, which itself is a rare, like once a month and new vice of mine. Apart from this, which I quite like, because I love the way it smells. And also, nicotine is real. Apart from this, I don't really, bye Torgaf, I don't really, I don't drink, I don't smoke dope. But I would recommend, if you do, going and watching Darkstar while high, because that is a stoner, it's the stoner version of 2001. Smoking is bad for you. Don't do it. My doctor said, "Do you smoke?" At one point, I was at the hospital, or I was at the doctor, and he said, "Do you smoke?" And I said, "I started smoking a pipe like a year ago." And he went, "Okay." Like, he gave me this look like, that's not what I mean when I say, "Do you smoke?" I like the two of those. Excuse me, I just scratched my nose in what was probably not the most flattering manner. All right, so we have the Kingdom of Dardiathar, the Underground Empire. I love how you guys do not point out my you guys know me, and you're like, I'm not going to point out that he has not finished that word, because Matt will see it and figure it out. Oh no, it's real, it's smoke. I'm an adult. I'm an adult making an adult decision. That's the trick. Oh, we did the Battle of the Thanes. Yeah, I would probably do that differently now. Craig is not a big fan of like wargaming stuff. He likes role playing, and there's yeah, the Benson, Arizona, crazy that song. Boo! Oh man, no, you walk into a tobacco store that sells like pipe tobacco and cigars, and you're like, this place smells amazing. And this office, after I smoked, when I walk into it, it just smells delicious. I can't know how else to describe it. Also, I write better on the caffeine. Caffeine, nicotine, lima beans, benverine. Yeah, don't smoke, kids. Oh my God. We're getting distracted. The vast empire of Dardiathar, several kingdoms ruled by the Starless Court. The Starless Court. And the Dark Star, the Fate Weaver. She Somebody said Fate Weaver. So what does that mean? It means she's an oracle. Subject to bits of prophetic ecstasy. Clockwork, what is it you would like before the stream ends? Yeah, you can see it's working, right? Nicotine. Look, I'm not in favor of smoking. I do it about once a month. And I like the smell and I like the nicotine, and I don't do it enough I don't think I really want a city across the channel to the west of the Bantor Steppe. You mean like a city over here? Is that what you're talking about? This is west, right? A city to the west. Okay, we'll work on that. We're not dropping in towns and cities yet. That's the next stream. I just want to finish Dardiathar and the Broken Spine. I'm not encouraging people to smoke. I'm encouraging them to be an adult and make adult decisions. Zlu 123. I normally put I've been running the campaign I've been running now. Oh, you want to see something cool? Where did that thing I sent Bob go? My friend Jordy wants to run a game in my campaign setting. And I was like, sure. And he said, do you have a map? And I'm like, not really. Not that it's useful or good. But I said, I know where everything is. I know where everything is. I'm just not an artist. So every time I try to draw it, it comes out looking terrible. But what I did was I built a little flowchart. So this is my map. I've tried making a real map. I'm terrible at this. Hang on. We'll answer some of these questions. So you can see this is a perfectly legitimate way to do your campaign map. These are all regions, right? You can see Vasloria, you can see Andrim if you've read my books. Corwell is where my novels are set. Rioja, capital, the greatest city in this or any age. So it's just like a flowchart. Why not? You're not an artist. I've spent years working on my campaign setting. Who is trading with the Northern Sanction? The rest of Calabris. This place we are now is just one region in Calabris. And there's one human culture, really, the Northern Sanction. But there are, I would imagine this is 1/6 of the world. Right? So don't be afraid. This is the lesson. I've been doing this for a long time, and look at what my map looks like. That's it. I've tried and I can never make it look good. It always looks ugly. So don't be afraid of the fact that you're not an artist or a writer or whatever you're not. Don't let that be the thing that stops you from running a game or having a cool world. You can just make a little flowchart and say, okay, this is where everything is. Anyway, we were talking about when the god I just went, it's draw.io. Have I ever been told that I look like a younger, better looking version of Tim Schafer? I usually get Kevin Smith, which I just have to accept. I'm no longer the young, fit person I was in my 20s. This is where I was. Jake, too, I'm sure we could at some point come up with some kind of really detailed explanation of the trade of the area. But I think we understand that cultures need trade, typically. Industrialized cultures need, not industrialized, you know what I mean? And so... I feel like we know something about Dardiathar. Let's talk about the... Let's talk about the Dwagar Kingdom. What is the name of the Dwagar Kingdom? I gotta go back to work tomorrow. This is the last day of my vacation. I'm spending it with you guys. I'm waiting for the answer because I know it takes like 10 seconds. Yeah, we're still going. We're almost done, though. I just want to know a little bit about the Dwagar Kingdom. Rom, enjoy your dinner. Volrim. Actually, Volrim's not bad because it kind of reminds me of Corim. A lot of smoke. Golor Norak. Not. How about something? We have a lot. Let's look at the names we have already, and try to come up with something different. Urshok, Ardenia, Dreshmore, Talon Arafel, Bantur Steppes, Zir. Vorkum. It's not bad. These are good names. There's nothing wrong with these names. I'm just trying to find one. We've been doing this for what? There are 2 hours and well, actually, we started at 11, right? So it's been 3 hours and 15 minutes. Yeah. I know Zir is such a cool name. It's the best name on the map. I wanted to maybe give the Dwagar Kingdom a single word, a single syllable name. Something like Ol. But that's. What about like. What was the name of the. What about that? What about Murgazar von Vol? The dwarves of Vol. The dwarves of URL. Durok Naz is it's in the thing. It's Durok's grave. Durok was the dwarven hero that founded the Vol. I'm something about Vol. I like it's like it is kind of like Zir. Moor. Seagull, you fly across the horizon into the misty morning. Asks you where you are going. I actually can't hear. You like Vol? People like Vol? Vol. Man. I do not use the pipe at the table to roleplay, although I do use it when I'm on the Evolve live stream so people know I'm the writer. Buzz! Ool. I don't mind Ool. Do you guys think, let me ask you guys a question. Do you think that having there be a one syllable name kind of steals Zir's thunder? You fly all around. Volm. Volm's not bad. The Dwarven Kingdom of Volm. The Dwarves of Volm. You gotta say it. Does it sound good when you say it? Don't say Costco, because I'm thinking about Costco pizza and I'm starving. I haven't had anything to eat all day. I literally have had nothing to eat since like 6 o'clock yesterday. Ooh. The kitty cats are all exiled to the unair-conditioned part of the house. Unfortunately. Ulval. A bit, maybe? Yeah, okay. Well, I'm glad I asked. The Z is what makes zero. I mean, yeah, okay. Ulval. The Dwarven Kingdom of Ulval. Is that too much like... Let's call it Ulval for now. Okay, I'm doing it. It's so weird to see what you type in chat. I just timed somebody out for being silly. I apologize to the person who was just being silly. I apologize at Grey Day. It's not... I'm sure you're a good person. I'm sure you have great ideas. But I have to discourage people from being silly, otherwise we don't get anything done. Ulval. They don't... The cats don't mind. Sensitivity to temperature is a learned thing. Upper and lower vol. I like that. It's funny. I liked that before I saw who suggested it, Craig. Upper vol and lower vol. Is lower vol where the Darrow are? The mad fallen kingdom of the Dwagar, and they descended into madness, and now they're the Darrow. In case you guys don't know what I'm talking about, the Darrow. Let's go with it. Let's go with it. Ulvol. I mean, we can always change it later. Ulvol. I can't listen. Are you suggesting Mathesius that I don't work? I just read the chat and aggressively apply these rules to everybody? We would get nothing done. The upper civilized kingdom of the Dragar. The lower kingdom. I don't want to make it too literal. I'll come up with a name later. I don't know how long ago. I don't know if it was 10 years ago or 1,000 years ago. I don't want. They don't speak English, so they wouldn't use the U and low for up and low. I think it's a coincidence. In fact, maybe a distraction. That it's the upper kingdom and it's Ulval. So the lower kingdom. How about this? Ulvak. There. It's not the first. It's not the prefix. It's the suffix. Fell years ago, and the Dwagar there went mad. Went made. Came the Darrow. There we go. I think Vol means upper and Vok means lower. And Ul is probably the name of their kingdom. So, who runs this place? Who runs Ulval? The Dwarven nations. Let me copy it and paste it in here. Start new text. I would really. I don't know why it worked then. And let's hang on. I moved the mouse out of the text box. Select text, select that. And let's move you down. So then I can select text, I can go poop. Actually, he fixed it, so select text should just... There we go. Yeah, Darrow, Woke and Click, Darrow are... I'll show you. Let's take a look. They're insane evil dwarves. We already have the triumvirate idea robot feed in somewhere else. It's a good idea. It must be a good idea because we already have it. I think we're almost done. I just want to know a little bit more about Ulvol. We know a little bit about it. We have the upper kingdom. We have the lower kingdom. And the lower kingdom kind of fell and went crazy. So that's where the crazy Underdark stuff is. Like, I think the civilization, the Dwargar are civilized. They're not good guys, but they're civilized. But you go down and you end up in Ulvok, and that is where crazy stuff is. Are we really making 2 new kingdoms? Well, we're making 1 new kingdom. Do we have a we don't have a theocracy anywhere else, right? So they're a theocracy. What's the name of the Dwagar god? I'm sure somebody knows what the Dwagar god is called. I was right. Having music on has really looks like they don't have Dwargar. It looks like they don't have gods. So what's the name of the no La Dwagar? The name of their god is La Dwagar. Oh, um, the lawful evil dwarven deity of the Dwagar. Uh, yeah, I asked what the name Moloch. I like Moloch because it's like Moloch, which is a real thing. Moloch. Hierophant. Uh, I like Moloch as the name of their god. Five minutes and then we're done. I was asking Vanderpike what the actual canonical name was, but it's as it turns out obscure, and so I feel like see ya Egrana, Eganra. So I feel like Moloch, Hierophant. I don't know the guy's name yet. Who? I feel like we need to know more about these guys, but I'm exhausted and want to stop and get something to eat. So I think we're done here at 3.5 hours in. And let's make sure you get your proper. Oops. Yeah, I'm gonna get some food. I feel like I want one more. What's the name of the Hierophant? We had a bunch of good names up here. Zadraxim. Zadraxim. Raisin Girl. I have a prescription for Zadraxim. I have to take 30 milligrams a day. Yeah, I know. I looked it up. I like the god of Moloch, the god of nightmares. These guys are bad guys, remember. Okay, so I think we're done. We may need to flesh out Ulvo a little bit more. We did a lot of work today. We covered, we figured out what's going on over here in Dar Diathar. Dar is the elven construction for cave or underground, as opposed to Tal, which is how you get forest. So we have the Drow Nation, we have the Dwagar Nation, Upper and Lower Ol. Lower Ol fell long ago, and now they're all insane. We know a lot about Zir. Zir continues to be super awesome, and we know a lot about the Northern Sanction. We know a lot about Ardenia, Haldrim, Cardus. This is a almost finished world. Next stream, we're gonna drop in some adventures, towns. We're gonna points of interest. We're gonna put some points of interest in, and we're gonna talk about. I guess we're gonna talk about the gods of the humans, which I guess means building a pantheon. I'm not excited about building a pantheon because I kind of feel like that sounds like a thing with a beginning, a middle, and an end. Whereas I'd rather just make up a couple of gods and move on. If that makes any sense, right? A pantheon sounds like a task, whereas let's come up with some gods and we'll be done. So I think that's it. I think maybe we have one more stream and then we can finally call Calabris quits. And my plan, for those of you who are just joining us late, is to take this document, when it's done, clean it up, make it sound like English, and then just put it up online, and maybe put it up on the DMs Guild for free, and say here's the map and here's the world. But then also do my own version of Collaborus, where I take these 7 pages and turn it into maybe 14 or 28 pages, and actually write and do a lot more and expand stuff and get some art. I think getting some beautiful illustrations, like spend some money, get some beautiful illustrations for this would really knock it out of the park, and give it a proper layout treatment, and make it feel like a real product that people would really use. Because I feel like that is the best way to respect the work that we have all done. There have been a colossal number of really amazing ideas in the stream, and the best way to honor those ideas, I think, is to treat this like a real product. So I would love Clockwork for your version of the map to be the one. I mean, you do it in black and white, and then I'll pay somebody to color it and letter it, and we'll do it. So we'll have, and that's why we'll have 2 versions. We'll have the free version, which is basically just this document but English, and then we'll have the paid version that maybe I'll make it, $5 or pay what you want, whatever. I don't care, but it should generate some revenue. I think that stuff like the DMs Guild, where I can take my D&D stuff, my Stronghold rules, my setting stuff, Collaborus, put it up there, get it generating revenue. Then the streams, the Collaborus stream, my Tuesday night game stream, will generate revenue, and that is a big, like, if something makes money, I don't mean profit, I mean just generates any revenue, then there's a lot more motivation to keep doing it. As opposed to my YouTube channel, which sells books, which is fantastic. Today I'm going to record another video for tomorrow. Tomorrow's video is going to be a regular everyday running the game video, and it's going to be talking about the difference between story and adventure. And the script for that is already written. So I think we're done. I will make sure to upload this stream to YouTube. I will make sure to save out the new version of the map. That you'll always be able to find the current version at www.squaremans.com/collaborus.pdf. There we go. Pay what you want is a good idea. We can donate as we please that way. Right, but I'm afraid that people would pay more than like $5. And I want to kind of make it like a cup of coffee, a cup of nice coffee. So you'll always be able to find the new version there. Peace out, Craig. Craig, thanks for joining the stream, dude. It was really fun having you in here. But regardless, we have one more stream left, points of interest, and specifically what I want to think about is adventure sites. Where is Hamlet, the village of Hamlet? Where is the Lost Mine of Phandelver? Where is the Temple of Elemental Evil? Where is Orlane? Where I want people to go be able to buy adventures, real adventures, and say, oh, I can run them in Collaborus. BL Mage Josh, unfortunately, you joined us literally at the last second. I think Sun Elves is fantastic. I use Sun Elves in my game. So Alpha 0115. This is a good day. We got a lot done. I enjoy doing it, and we streamed for more than 2 hours, so you got your money's worth. Gotten the date. Spinning as soon as you started. I just rose to the bait. All right. For a thing that is well done, illustrated, and such, I'll pay a bit. Yeah, well, that's the idea. All right, folks, I'm going to get something to eat. I will see y'all Tuesday night. We're going to do maybe the last D&D live stream. I don't know. It depends on how it goes. And it'll be the first time you get to see all 7 players and a DM at the table running the United TRS group. And I'm looking forward to some cool and interesting stuff. I hope you guys have a good weekend. Enjoy the rest of your Father's Day. I go back to work tomorrow, so this is the end of my vacation. Peace. Out.